Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Coffee and Takes podcast. Today I have a dear friend with me, Mr. Samie Benchoula.
Dear friend.
Today the show is run by the Bennies.
The
My
Bennies.
name is Ben-Hariz. His last name is Benchoula. And we have a lot in store for you today, guys. Samie is someone I've known now for a few years, a dear friend. Strange, but a good friend.
I'm your strangest friend. I keep you on your toes, man.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, all of my friends help me level up in life, and they contribute in various different ways. And I'd like to think I'm a good friend to Samie, and
you are valuable for sure.
That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Well, ladies and gents, what we want to talk about today is a few different topics. Before I dive into them, however, I want Samie just to briefly introduce himself, share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get into the juicy stuff.
Right. Well, as he said, my name is Samie Benchoula. I always work things out with, like, what's your business, what's your job, and what's your like background. My business is I used to teach people how to date. My job is I currently work at the Open University, and my profession, I'm technically a musician, but I don't do anything with that degree.
A very talented individual, and also you forgot a fighter.
Oh yeah, I fight.
A boxer.
I box. How could I forget?
Yeah, how could you forget?
How could I forget? Nah, I box, but not as much as I want to.
Yeah,
I want to fight a lot, but life.
We'll get into that. We'll get into fighting. The first thing I want to talk about with you is, the state of young men today in the world. We always have these conversations when we're walking around, milk and beans.
Milk and beans.
Milk and beans. We have some very, very deep conversations about life and about, our own aspirations, where most men are in today's age, and why men are not getting what they want. The first question I have for you is, why do you believe that most men today are struggling? What would you put it down to? Is there a few things that you could think of straight away that are like, okay, yeah, they're struggling because A, B, and C?
I think it's like a world issue with everyone. Like, people aren't taking accountability. Like, it's easy to escape nowadays. You have a bad day, it's easy to just go on your phone and just find a way to distract yourself. There's so many games on your phone. You go home, like, you can play your Xbox, you can watch TV. Everyone has a subscription to either Netflix, Amazon Prime, something to escape. And I think a lot of people aren't facing their issues head on, especially men. And I feel like, because I've been there, like, I feel like a lot of people feel hopeless. I put it down to, like, so when I was younger, I used to want to have been married by now, have kids by now. Like, I had this drive to want to look after my friends, my family, and the family that I make. And at the moment, I don't have a family that I can make. Like, a lot of my family, as much as I love them, a lot of them don't give off, like, good enough traits for me to want to protect them. I want to be like, I want to grab them by the head and be like, oh my God, like, take some accountability. Like, look at your life, rather than, it's. I feel like when the candle's being burnt at both ends, you kind of just, like, you're hopeless about it. So people tend to not want to do anything about themselves, because what's waiting for you at the finish line? The trophy is more work. I want the trophy, you know. But, like, I think that's the real issue.
So a lack of accountability, and coupled with distracting yourself with trivial things. Yeah,
that, and, like, there's not much motivation for the win. Like, I mean, look at the state of, like, dating, for example. Like both men and women are not good for each other at the moment, where everyone's very selfish, rather than which, like, why would you get in a relationship with someone who then you have to, like, devote everything to, who then just takes?
Yeah, I think it's definitely very true. Now we're in a world where people are inherently lazy, men and women. Obviously, this channel is dedicated to the fellas. I've observed them through, countless coaching calls that I've done. People just want to be in an environment where they just receive, they take. They don't want to contribute. men want women to accept them the way that they are,
That's
which is a very lazy mindset.
It's
a very lazy
killer.
mindset.
Same with women, though. Women want to accept them. Women want men to accept them just the way they are. Whereas I think that's the most toxic thing you could even think of. Like, you should be growing at all times, and you can either grow alone, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Do it, but when you're with a partner, you need to be growing together. You need to both pool your resources mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and point it in the direction you want to go.
Yeah. Well, it's what Jim Rohn says. I will take care of me for you, as long as you take care of you for me. A relationship is a place you go to give. And I think people have been programmed by television and Netflix to expect a relationship where they just sit on their ass and do nothing and they're worshipped. Obviously when it comes to guys have ran away from their masculine duty. Now, if you tell a guy to pay for the entire date, he'll give you 1,000 reasons why he doesn't want to do that. Well, she hasn't. And it's like, well, okay, we're men, so we have to talk about what men should do. Now, I don't talk about what women should do because this isn't really a channel dedicated to women. And also, I'd get loads of backlash.
You don't want to get cancelled.
So you think that... you just open a can of worms.
It's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, you ladies, I'm sure you've got plenty of female dating coaches that could give you advice. Some I disagree with.
There isn't many that are good, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a whole other subject.
Matthew Hussey's all right.
Yeah, Matthew Hussey's is a great coach. I like a lot of what he says. And to be fair, he's touched on this point as well. The point of being in a relationship where you're both lazy. It's not going to work out. I want
is not going to get. It'll get from people that are desperate. But
and we've had that conversation before. Women don't even want to be in a relationship with a dude that has no spine and just gives them everything that they want, because they're going to think to themselves, hang on a second, I can walk all over this motherfucker.
Dude, anyone. And I mean, if money was lying around and it was, no one claimed it, anyone would walk past and just grab all the money they can. And that's how you have to see it. You have to kind of defend your goods, your domain, your possessions with like a good enough guard, and realize that your mentality and your world is everything, and you're bringing them into it to make it better, not to like drain off of,
That's exactly it. I think you as a man need to be, I don't want to say happy, because happiness is a fleeting thing, and I spoke about this recently.
Happiness is just a feeling.
But you need to be satisfied with your life when you're single. Because if you're miserable to your core, a woman isn't going to come in and make you feel any better. She may fill in some gaps. She may make you satisfied temporarily. But then after the honeymoon stage wears off, or the limerence stage as they call it, then you're back to where you were before, and you feel empty, and this person is there maybe trying to cheer you on and make you feel better. And it's not fair on her, because then she'll adopt the mother dynamic with you, where you're the son that's sad and depressed, and she's trying to nurture you, and it's not good.
They don't want to be like mothers of their children and mothers of their partner. No one wants that. Everyone wants to be led. Even men want to be led, dude. Like, everyone is here on this podcast, like, listening because they want to have some sort of direction. Like, I have my podcast that I go to where I want some direction. We all want some direction. We all want to be led. And I think, like, going back to your point, like, before, like, with like why we don't have like this accountability and why men are struggling, I think it's because we don't have this rite of passage. Like,
what do you mean?
As like in the societies of ages past, you'd get to a certain age and it's like, all right, it's time to be a man. This is what you have to do to be a man. You'd go hunting, you'd kill, or do you know what I mean? Like, you'd go through this rite of passage to manhood, whereas there's no rite of passage for us anymore. We just finish school and then exist. We're expected to just exist. And like, there's the good societies had like a rite of passage. Like, if you look at Spartans, they would be sent out and you had to go and hunt something on your own and bring it
duty.
Back. Exactly.
I think men today are missing this duty that we once had. Like, we're not even talking hundreds of years ago, even 60, 70 years ago. A guy who's 23, 24 is married, has 2 kids, is out working all day. There's something that he's living for. And I know things have changed, and I know we're living in tough times. Inflation's through the roof, and there's many things that are making our quality of life lower. However, once again, you can either be a victim of the circumstance, or you can tell yourself, you know what, yeah, times have changed. However, I still want to embrace my masculine duty. I want to go out there. I want to work hard for myself. I want to take care of a family. That's why millions of men every single day wake up and do jobs that they don't necessarily enjoy, because they have duty. I mean, I'm sure your father and my father have gone through periods in their life where they're like, you know what, this job kind of sucks, but I've got kids at home and I need to make sure that they have shoes to wear. I need to make sure that I can take them on holidays. It wasn't just about them. And obviously you mentioned the whole me. Guys are like, well, my feelings, and I don't feel great, and I don't feel. It's not just about you.
It's never just about you. It's about everything. It's about you and everyone else. Do you know what I mean? It's about you. Like, it's just not just about you.
100%. And I think, look, we live in a time now where, and I've said this several times on previous videos that I've made, we are fortunate to live in the greatest time in human history to earn livings in various different ways. You know, you can be an online content creator, you can sell coffee tables on Etsy, you can sell all sorts of stuff and make a living from it. And I think people choose to become victims and to feel sorry for themselves because, you know, there are so many ways to win.
I think it's like a kid in a sweet shop. I think we just get overloaded with too much, so we just like, oh, I don't want a sweet then. I don't like, do you know what I mean? We go there and it's just, imagine going into a store and have every sweet on the planet and you have to pick one sweet, right? One sweet. You'd be stuck there for ages.
That is true, yeah. And especially with sweets and chocolates, I just struggle. Even to this day, I struggle.
But no, like that's the world, like with like what you want to do with yourself and where you want to go. And I think that's a lot of why people can't just pick.
Do you think, if we're talking about the sweet shop analogy, do you think that is because of social media that we're struggling to maybe find a path and stick to it? Because we see on social media constantly, whoa, but there's this way of making money, there's that way of making money. I actually, it does have a big part to play because we're all told this is going to make you loads more money, and this is going to make you actually even more money. But I don't think people realize that no matter what you do, you can be a cleaner and earn, you know, £10 an hour or, you know, minimum wage, whatever that is now for whatever age you are, right? And if you learn that skill enough, you could scale it and be like, I'm going to make my own cleaning company. Very, very good point.
Like, it's not about, it's never about what makes you the most money. It's leveraging what you have and turning that into something. Like with me and my singing, I could leverage it. The issue is that I don't like the industry. That's the big part for me. Yeah. But like, it really is like, everything is just scalable. Like, I can go from doing gigs in pubs, £100 here, £100 there, and before you know it, I'm doing like small stage events, and they get bigger and bigger. It's just about the snowball effect. And if you double down on whatever it is, you'll get better. It's the same with like any skill. I used to be terrible at singing, terrible at guitar. I used to have my mum come in the room like, can you shut up? Shut up. My sister's like, they'd be like, they'd take the mick out of like how I'm singing, like, and I'm like, oh, all right, leave me alone, I'm trying. And now they're like, oh my God, how'd you get so good?
And now he can't stop singing.
Now I can't stop. I embarrass him in the gym.
He does.
I really try to.
I'm like, oh, fuck, here he goes again. He's like, and you know, oh man, here we go. But I think that's a very good point that you just mentioned there. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to become the founder of some quirky app to do well in today's age. You can be a cleaner, as you mentioned, and if you brand yourself well, you can scale your income from maybe a couple of thousand a month to potentially 10 or 15,000 a month. My friend who was on the podcast last week, he knows a guy on TikTok. You've probably seen him, called the Pool Guy. You know, the guy that cleans swimming pools?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, he's actually, you know, not far from him.
I straight up, like 1 o'clock in the morning, watching this guy.
I can binge watch his videos all day, all night.
It's so stupid, but he's definitely
It's addictive.
Yeah,
you know, and he smashed it. He's taken something. I don't want to say as simple because there's actually quite a few steps involved in cleaning a swimming pool. But
the way he makes it look simple, which is what's more satisfying.
Yeah, that's the thing. And because there's several stages, you're like, oh, and then he does this and removes the leaves and you're hooked on. But what I mean is something as a concept as simple as cleaning a swimming pool. He's been able to scale that from maybe something, I don't know his story in detail, but he's able to take that from something that maybe makes him, a living, to something that now is on track to make him a fortune, because he's got a lot of sponsors and people that want to collaborate with him, lots of views, millions. I think he's got 14 million followers on TikTok. So he's absolutely crushed it from a very simple idea. And this is why I always say to people, if you're good at something, try and brand yourself on the internet. I think people are afraid of putting themselves out there because of the potential criticism from friends and family.
I think that's a big part. But I mean, take me for example. I had my page. I was teaching people how to date. I think that's when
plug in your TikTok.
Plug in.
Yeah, what's your TikTok handle?
I think it's just Samie Benchoula.
Yeah, Samie Benchoula, guys.
SamieBenchoula.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't really post on it much. I will if people want more stuff. But
I'm throwing him in the deep end.
Yeah, he really is. Because I'm prone to saying stuff bluntly, which comes across as bad, and that's what you're afraid of me being on here, and
he's going to cancel me.
Yeah, straight up. And what I'm scared of on TikTok myself, like I know, like I've already been shadow banned like a couple of times. Like I went, like one of my videos got, what was it, like 400,000 views, and then a couple of videos down, I'm barely getting 400.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I think that's the biggest thing I'm afraid of, is just getting online, saying something that I kind of messed up explaining. Like because it's online forever, you kind of have to get everything perfect right the first time.
Yeah.
Or you could say something that you think is innocent and then it upsets someone and upsets a group.
The way I see it is you're always going to upset somebody. And I've learned that over the last few years.
It's why I admire you, man.
Yeah,
because you're just like, I don't care.
It is what it is.
People hate me.
Him so many comments.
People like me. Yeah, he messaged me like, oh, Samie, what's this guy on about? Why is he saying this? And I'm like, I'm telling him like, yeah, don't worry about it. He's like, yeah, but it's annoying, isn't it? And I'm like, and then the other way around, I'm like, yeah, I'm not posting because I don't want that.
Well, that's the thing. I think I'd be lying if I said that it never affected me. Everybody wants to be perceived as a good person who means well. But then what you realize over time as you keep creating content is that even if you say something as noble as, I want kids to be safe, I want people to have a great life, someone will be upset by that and say, what do you mean kids be safe? Can they not? There's that saying, if you want to make everybody happy, sell ice cream. But even then, someone will be like, I don't do dairy, and it'll just go on and on and on. And, you know what I mean? Someone will always be upset with you, no matter how you try and position your words and articulate. However, I do believe that you have to become a professional when it comes to creating content. There are some people that I watch on YouTube that say things that are so, how can I put it? I mean, they're just so disrespectful and not well put together. And I'm just like, and it puts them in a lot of trouble. They get cancelled because of it. And I'm like, you could have avoided that. You didn't have to say that. I mean, recently, Jordan Peterson saying what he said. I don't want to get into that, in too much detail on this podcast, but him saying that,
it made us unfollow him. I respect the guy. I still respect him for his intelligence, right, and his understanding of men. He really does understand the issue, but as soon as he takes,
I was like, well,
mate,
that wasn't a mistake.
That wasn't. He done it twice. He's done 2 different.
Yeah, that wasn't a mistake. And honestly, when I saw that, I was really disappointed.
Yeah,
because you don't slip up and accidentally tweet something
terrible,
as disgusting as that. You really have to sit down and make sure that because
I think he did. Let's look at it maybe he doesn't understand what's going on. Maybe he doesn't understand the implication of what he actually said.
I think he does.
Yeah. You would assume so, but
it's the responsibility. I mean, look,
the responsibility is what is everything.
I don't have anywhere near as many followers as him or subscribers.
Not yet.
But even with the subscriber base that I have, I'm still very careful about not saying something out of emotion that I will look back at and think, why did I say that? I don't want to say that I'm scared of voicing my opinions, because I say exactly what I need to say in every video, and I'm not afraid of voicing my opinions. There are topics that I can't give my perspective on because I'm not educated on, so I will say I don't know. However, people like that, you don't have to make a mistake like that. And he's just one example. There are other people in the red pill community who
The red pill has gone crazy, dude.
What do you think of where it's gone, the direction it's taken?
So the red pill was great at the start. Like, it was just like, this is how it is. This is what you need to be aware of. Not hate women or anything like that. It was just like, this is what you got to be aware of. Andrew Tate comes to the scene. He goes a bit mad. Like, don't get me wrong, I respect him. Like, as much as there's controversy around that, but I'm more of a...
His overall message is good.
Yeah, I'm more of, like, with everything. I don't care as long as until there's like it's solid. Like there's, you know what I mean. There's loads of, at the moment. There's loads of situations where people are just trying to take people out.
Yeah.
But yeah, his overall message is really well put. It's when he starts. I think people have an issue with understanding what's satire, what's jokes.
We always talk about it, don't we?
Yeah.
You know, we laugh at some of the satire that he shares, and we tell each other every time, I bet you there's someone right now who's like
angry,
and they just get so angry.
But you can tell who was like a sporty person and who wasn't, because the sporty people will be in a locker room and chat crap like he's saying, and we enjoy that.
We've lost that, I think, in society.
We have, and I think that's the real issue there.
Too soft these days.
Yeah, I think offense is taken and not given. Like, if I'm trying to offend you, it's okay. Like, it's understandable for you to be offended, not at the words I'm saying, at the fact I'm trying to offend you. But you have a choice to be offended or not.
Well, that's the thing. It's words, isn't
exactly.
it?
If you believe, let's say if I called you fat, for example. Right, if you believe you're fat,
am I?
If you believe you're fat,
then take offence.
Then, well, no. If you believe you're fat, then you got two options. You either change it or you accept the truth that you are fat.
Yeah, if I get offended, that means I've accepted it as
exactly.
a truth. Yeah.
Right, or like you're not fat, in which case it doesn't matter what I say because you know you're not fat.
Because it doesn't change the reality.
Exactly. And this is what I always try to... I've got 6 younger sisters and they always get offended. And I think like I've got 2 of them that are like... Maybe 3 that are like... They've started to catch on to like not get offended too much. Yeah. And they've really started to try like take in a lot of my philosophy because they were really like sensitive and now they're just like, all right, Samie, whatever. And I poke and prod on purpose. I think that's what men do to each other. A lot of people call it... Yeah. Because if you can't take like a small grilling, then what kind of man are you? Like someone's gonna offend you one day on the street, and then you're gonna have an emotional response, and then we're like, before you know it, someone pulls out a knife and we're both dead.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think, you know, as guys, obviously for banter we take the piss out of each other. Oh, you're this, you're that, and we laugh about it. You've done that to me countless times.
All the
I've done
time.
that to him.
Yeah,
plenty of
I
times.
cry at night because of you.
What I'm saying? My words just puncture your heart.
Yeah.
I think that's healthy between friends, is to take the piss out of each other. And if you're the kind of person who gets really upset, then it probably means that you're just not socially intelligent, because it's something we do out of love. If I love you, I take the piss out.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like
exactly
a universal language between us boys.
I can guarantee anyone who gets offended really easily, like if you get offended really easy, woman, man, doesn't matter who, I can guarantee you don't have as many friends as you think you do. Right? People are nice to you because they are scared of offending you and don't want to get into trouble, especially at work with like how HR is running at the moment. But like,
well, we've said this before. Anybody that gets offended in a comedy show, for example, is not somebody you want around you, whether it's a friend that you've brought along or a girl that you've taken out on a date. If a person gets really offended and starts heckling the comedian, or, you know, what does that tell you about who they are? It tells you that
deeply insecure,
they're too serious as well. Because there's a time to be serious when it's time to work and whatever, and then there's a time to kick back and let loose. And the reason why we love comedians is because they give us the opportunity to laugh at some of
the realities,
the harsh realities of life.
Or at least they make you aware of a perspective that they can see. It's not that they believe it or don't. It's just like, this is what I've noticed. This is funny. And then someone's like, that actually happened to me. It's like, well, that's a shame. I'm really sorry.
What comedians do is they bring light to the fact that this happens to a lot more people than you think. You know, like Russell Peters is a funny comedian who takes the piss out of different ethnicities, and he also takes the piss out of Indians as well, where he's Indian himself, right? And, you know, I like that because, you know, you can get everybody in a room laughing, regardless of their ethnic background. Everybody's there to have a good time and laugh at some of the sort of the prejudices, you know, some of the things that every ethnicity does. I mean, as North Africans, there are certain things that, you know, in our ethnicity we observe. For example, every North African dad, when he's about to hit you, what does he do? Yeah, he bites his tongue. You know what I'm saying? Did your dad ever tell you to get the belt? I think that's part of the torture, when he tells you, go and get the belt.
Yeah. He said that my dad's never ever hit me. Honestly, it's my mum that got me, man.
I still remember the day my dad told me to get the belt.
Yeah, dude, that's some torture.
On the way to my dad's bedroom, I was crying because I had to find the object that will torture me, and I had to deliver it to him.
It's funny, like people like the thing is, people that are hearing this will probably like, oh my god, you got attacked. Yeah, no, like I look back, it's funny.
I needed
like,
that.
It actually, yeah, like it's funny. Like there's been times where my mum's really hit me, and at the time it was obviously like, yeah, like, dude, yeah. But my dad barely hit me. He rarely hit me. He just gave me the look. It was the
stare is dangerous, man.
You bloody taking the piss. Done. I'm sorry, Dad.
Deep trouble, man.
Yeah, until I got to like the age of 16, I was cheeky. I was like, "What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?" 6'2" man, big Algerian bloke with a beard, just like you're taking the piss.
Yeah, tell people about your upbringing. So you come from...
My mum's English, and my dad's Algerian, and they split up when I was really young. So I lived with my mum mostly, and that was like, she was great. She did her best, but she beat the crap out of me. I was too cheeky. I've always been cheeky.
English for it.
Dude, well. I've had bamboo sticks broken on me, wooden spoons, the lot, man. Love it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, dude, traumatized. I've got PTSD.
I always tell him, Samie, you're messed up in the head.
Mum hit me too much.
You were thrown down the stairs. Oh man. But I think. Look, the tough love of a father is necessary when bringing up children. You don't want a child that's too soft. Well, because the world is harsh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It brings you to the realities of the world. As a man, men and women go through life differently. Whether you like it or not, we do. I know we do, because I can tell you that my sisters on my mum's side, not my dad's side, my sisters on my mum's side never got hit. I did. Right? We go through life differently, and even now as an adult, they get helped out more, whereas I don't. And I think my dad growing up, especially because he left Algeria after, like, he's like 60 years old, so he left Algeria after the French basically messed up the place, or he grew up in Algeria when they messed up the place. Like, he's seen the reality, so you need that kind of reality check from a dad. I have arguments with one of my sisters who got a child. Unfortunately, she's a single mother, and she's, every time I try to, like, it's not a certain dominance, but I try to be masculine to her boy, my little nephew. He's like 5 years old. I try and show him, like, oh, don't do that. She like moans at me because she thinks I'm too harsh, and she's like, oh, you're gonna hurt his feelings. And I'm like, look, life isn't about feelings. Feelings is part of life. Like, he has to experience these emotions. He needs to understand that if he crosses a line, there could be consequences. Like, as a man, we know that I think Andrew Tate said this. A couple of people have said this. Like, the last line of defense is physical violence, whether you like it or not. Even if you're not a fighter, the last line of defense is calling the police, who will come and physically remove you. Do you know what I mean? It's always physical. And if you don't teach men to control that and to be able to do that, then it's just a recipe for disaster.
Well, 100%. I think actually Andrew Tate says this: weak men are the most dangerous.
Oh, for sure.
Men that can't process their emotions in a healthy way. Because look, we all get emotional from time to time, but it's how you package that emotion and direct it. You know, I always tell young guys, whenever you're going through a difficult time in life, it's okay to feel down, but then use that energy and direct it to bettering yourself. You know, getting in the gym, working out, burning some of that frustration. Because if you keep it bottled in, you're going to release it in the worst possible way onto somebody else potentially.
No, I mean, we're all human, man. We're all human. We all have our weak moments, right? But if you're majority weak mentally, like, there's a reason why. Like, I get it. Like, men can cry and stuff like this. But if you cry to me, different game. Like, I'm here for you. But if like I remember crying to my ex-girlfriend once because I wanted her back, like back in the weekdays, and I remember her just being like, no, I don't want you back. Like you make, like I remember her looking at me like, you make me sick, and I was just like, oh, dude, no, would I never do that again. Like if you feel like you need to cry, you should never hold it back. But like in Fury, Brad Pitt's character, he was like in charge of the tank, and they're in a war, but they all of them want to break down, but he never broke down in front of them. He'd just go away, break down by himself and then come back, because as a leader or as someone who is supposed to lead or have responsibility and make sound decisions, you can't look like you don't have it together. As much as you might not, you can't look like you can't control your emotions. And crying is you being overwhelmed with emotion. It's an overwhelming experience, but you can't sit there and make sound decisions like while you're in a highly emotional state.
And I've spoken about this before. It's okay to be emotional when you're by yourself. Something's really upset you, especially after a breakup. You know, you're grieving the loss of this
breakups
person.
Are the worst, man.
It's difficult, man. It's never easy, and you're sat in your car and you know you're trying to process your emotion in the best possible way, but sometimes you just can't. You know, you really miss this person, so you might cry by yourself in the car, and then you just get it together and you're back to it. And the thing is, you have to realize that time moves on, and you know, crying in the moment is a very natural response. But if you're still crying a year later, 2 years later, then it means you haven't accepted. You know the stages of grief?
Yeah.
The last stage is acceptance. That's what you need to get to, ideally, as quickly as possible. Not 2 days. I mean, it's not natural to forget about somebody after 2 days. It will take a while.
I think remembering the good times is what matters. Like, you got to experience this.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what's good enough. Right? It's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all, as they say.
I agree with that.
100%. I never used to like. I used to be like, oh, I wish I never met her. Or I wish I never met him.
When
or
it's fresh, you say.
But like, how silly could I be? Because why would I be with someone that doesn't make me feel good? And they did make me feel good, and I enjoyed their company, and it was great. And every single girl I've ever been with, like, I don't regret any of it, because it was an experience. You learn from it, no matter what. You learn what not to do and what to do next time. You know, you learn how to love, how you like to be loved, more importantly. It's
especially the first relationship. I mean, there's no boarding school for that. There's no program to teach you how to show up in the best possible way as a man. Your first relationship is really it's almost like the testing ground. You know, you make all the mistakes. You know, you break down, you get emotional, you're too needy, you're too smothering.
Too needy is the issue.
Because during the relationship, you don't realize the mistakes that you make. And you might get frustrated. Why is she upset? Why is this? But then after a while, and usually after the end of the relationship, you realize, you know what? I didn't show up in the best possible way. And I want to get your perspective on this. I believe that the majority of breakups, at least when men are in their 20s, are justified on the woman's side, because the guys were too needy. They let themselves go. It's a very natural thing that happens. You gain weight. You stop seeing your friends. It's because the femininity draws you in.
Yes.
We've spoken about this before.
We always speak about this.
It's a beautiful thing.
So everyone gets into a relationship. Women and men get into a relationship, and they forget that they've still got to grow. The relationship isn't the end. Right? You have to keep going to the gym. Right? You have to keep working on your business. You have to keep working on yourself. You can't get a girl and then be like, oh, I can look ugly now.
Because that's what attracted her to you in the first place. The fact that you were in the gym, you had your own social life, and women almost feel like they've been lied to.
Well, if I made my life about you, you would be like, Samie, like, leave me alone. Like, I would do the same with anyone. I've done the same with people, and just be like, I'm not the Messiah. I don't know everything. I barely know any. I'm just intelligent enough to sit down, think, and learn and read books about it. And everyone just kind of, it's just silly.
That's the thing, man. You need to carry on having your own lives, and then sharing the happiness and the joy that having your own lives your own social circles, your own experiences bring you. You know, for example, I'm out with my friends. We did something fun together. I come back home.
And you have something to talk about.
And they're like, yeah, we did this. I went here. What did you do? Oh, me and my friend did this. And that's what makes the relationship thrive and flourish, is the fact that you both have your own life. It doesn't mean you live in separate houses or you live in...
Or you
sleep in
never
rooms.
hang out with each other and do stuff together. Do stuff together, but it's not... That's not the goal. That's not the life. Like, you shouldn't do everything together, no matter what. It's like driving the same car for the rest of your life. Eventually, you're gonna be like, no matter how you feel, you're gonna end up being like, I need a new car soon. I need a different car. I need something else. I need something else. I think we are humans. We really do need like different stimuli all over all the time. And if no matter how much you love a person, if that person's always in your life and they get predictable, then you kind of lose the spark.
100%. I mean, this love grows in the space, in the distance. When you're not around each other, you think of each other. What is he doing? And a man that has a life that's interesting, he boxes, he has a business that he's working on, he's got a thriving social life. It doesn't mean you're out every night, but you have friends that are good to you, you're good to them, you hang out, you go to places together. It makes you somebody that she feels like she can't quite figure you out, even 5 years in. You know, guys that are boring to women are guys that have nothing going on. Or
they're not growing in any way.
Yeah. And if you're not growing, you're dying.
I think a lot of men just kind of, they overflow with words. They want the girl that they're seeing to just know everything about them. You know what I mean? They're just like, oh yeah, I like this, I like this, I like this. Don't say anything, dude. Wait for them to ask. If they're interested, they'll ask. And then if you end up doing that thing or being like, oh yeah, I actually box, they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you box. Like, when did you do that? I do it after work. This is why I do this. This is why you don't see me then. It's like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think let it be natural. You know, some guys believe in the act mysterious strategy, which I find is corny because you can't fake who you are. You know, you're not living a James Bond kind of lifestyle where you're in a different part of the world every single day, you know, beating up bad men and taking private jets, driving Astons. You know, it's okay if you have an ordinary life. You don't have to hide what you do. Oh, where were you today? Oh, don't worry about it. Yeah.
The mysterious game is always funny to me, man.
Yeah.
Like when I first started, like trying to like chase women, I got into pickup artistry, and there was a lot. It was like, oh, you can be mysterious, or you can be the fun, outgoing guy. And I always find it funny watching people try and be mysterious, because it's like, what are you doing?
You can't try to be mysterious.
Yeah, you either are or you're not.
Well, that's the thing. You become mysterious when you have a lot going on, and maybe you've forgotten to mention.
Or you just don't want to talk. Most of the people just aren't. They're not. It's not that they're mysterious. They're just like, I'm going to tell you what you need to know.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how you be mysterious.
Well, that's the thing. One of the biggest mistakes guys make when they meet a girl is they have this compulsive need to impress her by listing out their achievements or what they intend to do. You know, like you see it on dates.
It's called social proof, but you're self-qualifying. You're trying to qualify to her. Like, oh my God, look, I have this, I have this, I have this.
Yeah.
Dumb. We don't need to self-qualify.
And especially if it's something you haven't done already. You're talking about what you intend on doing. A lot of guys will do that in the early stages of dating a woman. Oh, I want to start a business, I want to do this, and they want to impress her with the ambition. But you have to actually follow through on that ambition. And a lot of women actually realize 8 months into dating a dude that, he hasn't started this business. He was just trying to impress me. And I've actually seen it happen in real life, you know, with some of the couples that I've spoken to. The guy, you know, talked a load of smack in the early stages that he wants to do something, but he hasn't done it. And the missus was like, oh, yeah, there he is. He's always talking about this new idea.
Oh, imagine.
And, you know, just her rolling her eyes.
Yeah, imagine. That would upset me.
Because forget women for a second. It would annoy me if I don't do that for me. If I don't follow through on what I say I'm going to do, that will make me lose respect for myself.
Yeah.
And I can completely sympathize with women when they feel like their man is a talker. How can I respect you when your words don't mean nothing? You talk left and walk right. You don't follow through. How can I respect you? The book, Way of the Superior Man, talks about this. You know, your woman, when she's frustrated, it's rarely ever a random occurrence. It's a combination of things over time.
Yeah, it always is. The problem isn't what they're moaning about. The problem is loads of things that you haven't done, and this is just a cherry on top of the cake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think there's an example in the book where the guy is unemployed and he's applying for jobs, but he's laying in front of the TV watching some programs, whatever, and his woman's upset. And he goes up to her and he's like, why are you upset? And she's like, oh, don't worry about it, whatever. And it's not the fact that he's in front of the TV, it's the fact that he's not as proactive as she would like him to be.
It's expectation and reality.
Yeah.
Like, she expected this and this is what she's getting. It's buyer's remorse at the end of the day.
Well, that's the thing. I think most women are reasonable in their expectations of men. Obviously, the red pill community has
gone mad,
has gone crazy, and you have a bunch of these red pill podcasters
hating on women. Yeah,
oh, they just want you for your money. It's like,
there are obviously some women out there that just want you for your money, but it's more complex than that. There's loads of things to it. Like, because you can easily say that men only want women for their bodies. It's like some do. I'm not denying that. There's some dickhead men out there, but like, yeah, I would like a woman for her body, but I also want. Like, want it to be a nice intelligence, I want caring, I want, yeah, it's very silly.
But that's exactly it. I mean, the guys that are worried about women using them for their own money don't have any money.
Normally.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because all of these guys that follow these podcasters, and I won't be afraid to name them, Fresh and Fit.
Yeah.
These guys that are watching Fresh and Fit getting mad at women, these are dudes that are really young, 19, 20, 21, that probably work at Wendy's or, I don't know, Lidl's, They don't have any money for her to dig for, but yet they're so resentful. It's like, you haven't been through an experience to cause that resentment. You're basically, and I actually spoke about this on a recent podcast, you are allowing somebody else's failures to be projected onto you. So, for example, there might be a guest on one of their shows who has had a horrible divorce or multiple horrible divorces, and he's out there telling these young men, don't ever get married. Women will do this and this and this to you.
They can do that.
They can, but then there's another dude out there who's been married to the same woman for 40 years. She loves him to bits. She can't keep her eyes off him or her hands off him, and he's living a completely different life. So that's the thing.
I think it's always important to be wary. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't let your guard down, but don't keep your guard up. You have to live in this limbo or play it by ear.
You've got to risk it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a relationship is a risk, dude. And I would risk everything for love.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I'd risk too much for love. Like, love is what, like, wins wars, my friend. Like, I want to go back to my wife.
I want to write a poem.
Yeah.
When I'm in the trenches.
That's literally like...
I want to be like, darling, the sparkle in your eyes.
Literally writing notes back like, I've always loved you. Like, your smile is what keeps me ready.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that is it. Like, the thing is, Fresh and Fit, they make good points sometimes, but the way they go about it is not good.
The way I see it is, I can understand their approach. Controversy, negativity, it spreads faster than... A good message takes longer to be delivered than a negative message.
Yeah, people are emotional. Like, our natural baseline is emotional react.
Exactly.
So unless you can have like you're constantly critically thinking, which is just unsustainable, then like you're gonna have a slow rise to grow a platform. But anyone who's out there who really thinks that you're not going to get a woman if you don't have money, I've been homeless, like genuinely homeless, and had women want to help me, take me in, or I've still like managed to get a girlfriend, or still started seeing a girl. Like, there's a guy who is homeless, and he used to pick up girls on the streets, so he had somewhere to stay. And I was just like you can look it up, just go on YouTube, look it up. It's well interesting. It's just funny that he's not like even a good looking guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's just got the talk. He's just able to be like, hey, chat some nonsense, and somehow he's got a place to stay for a bit. And it's really interesting. So it's not just about money. Money helps keep a woman.
For sure it does. Yeah. But your aura as a man, your charisma, your ability to make a woman laugh.
Your Riz,
yeah. Ali Ben-Hariz.
Hariz, my friend.
There's a lot more to you than just money. And I think a lot of guys are really insecure about their ability to provide for a woman. And look, if you are not in a good place financially, if you're stressed about money, then in my opinion, you shouldn't even be dating.
Yeah.
Because
you shouldn't even think about women.
Everything.
Yeah. You shouldn't even be thinking about women.
You're going to be worried about paying for the bill. You're going to be worried about paying for gas to go pick her up, to do this, to do that. You're not in a position to start dating. What's the rush?
Your life is your whole goal in life is to make sure you have as little stress as possible, right? You can make, there's good stress, which is growth, like going to the gym. We stress ourselves out in the gym, right? Boxing, you put yourself in a situation where you're going to get hit, right? There's good stresses, but you shouldn't put yourself in a situation that's going to cause you unnecessary stress, before you're ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, you should just, if you're worried about something, deal with the worry, deal with the problem, and then move on. Don't be like, oh, I haven't got any money. Oh, women. Oh, car. Oh, house. It's just like, obviously, like, just deal with your money, and then it will come eventually. When it happens, it happens.
Yeah, 100%. People are rushing to get everything in order as quickly as possible.
Social media's ruined it.
It's because of Instagram. For sure it is.
Social media's ruined it. I do feel bad, and I talk about this with my grandparents a lot. They're like, I hate all this social media because it's made people just have like high expectations. And I reckon it was the lockdowns. Like no one was interacting properly. And everyone was just on social media looking at people living their life. And now, because of the 2 years of having to stay inside and just watching your like TikTok or Instagram, you have these crazy high expectations of how things are supposed to be. There's no standard for how things are supposed to be. You know, like, some people are happy living on nothing. I've always said that you either have to, like, the best places to be in life, really, is you have to be super rich, or like rich, or really poor, and everything in between is a churn. Like, it's just a mess because you've got too much. There's too many people like stepping on each other, and there's like you always have to end up like doing a lot more to get things done. When you're rich, you can just pay to get things like through, and you can just like you're on easy mode. And when you're poor, like really poor, like living on the streets, you have nothing to lose. But when you're in the middle, you have everything to lose, and one like trip up can make you lose it. But when you're rich, like you can afford the trip ups.
Yeah, I get what you're saying completely. I think when you're in the middle class, you're stuck in this rat race where you're one missed payment away from everything crumbling down. You know, your car payment bouncing. Yeah, your car payment bouncing. You don't pay your rent for 3 months now. You're in deep trouble. You know, the room for error is so small when you're in the middle class. And obviously, when you're really poor, you know, my dad went to Uganda once, and he told me that he's never seen happiness like he's seen in the eyes of those Ugandan children and their parents, even though the whole village that he visited only had one mobile phone, and it wasn't an iPhone, you know, 14 Pro Max or anything.
Some Nokia.
It was some old Nokia.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't even a touchscreen phone, and that was for the whole village. And yet everybody is so happy, you know. And it makes you question: are we ungrateful as a society?
Oh, we are, dude. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And it's growing in the East, because they're living like us. We're going through that like crux, aren't we? Where they're getting up and we're going down. But no, we are so ungrateful. I've always said I'd rather, like, I want people that I can be homeless with, that would sleep under a bridge with me if push comes to shove. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I struggle to find someone, a woman that I really want, is because I do want someone who is willing to starve with me at the table. I don't want people to eat with me at the table who aren't willing to starve, as Conor McGregor says. If we can struggle together, that's everything I need.
Well, I think for me, I want somebody who, and this applies to friendships as well, who sees the beauty in the little things. A walk around a park.
You don't need to spend money.
You don't need to, like, this whole lifestyle that we're so obsessed with on Instagram.
It is lifestyle.
Private jets. I mean, I remember it peaked, I think, around 2017 on Instagram, because every video was about private jets and Rolls Royces, and there'd be quotes in front of the pictures as well, like, you know, you sleep when you're dead and things, just toxic pieces of advice that I used to consume. Like, I was just scooping them up, you know. Wow, you know, I used to say corny things like, you know, jobs are for the poor and all that bullshit. And, you know, as I've matured, I realized that, first of all, when it comes to jobs, it's necessary for society that people work in various different disciplines. And also, not everybody's cut out to be an entrepreneur. That's something I've realized over the last few years as well, because of the stress aspect. Not everybody can manage stress in the same way. Some people crumble, and so they want to be led by somebody else, you know, because being an entrepreneur is you taking on board all of the responsibility. It's all on your shoulders. The buck stops with you. You have to pay salaries, you have to pay taxes, you have to make sure that you're following, you know, the legal sort of framework of the country.
Well, it's everything, isn't it?
So many
Everything.
things, you know, and you're responsible for other people's livelihoods, which is also stressful as well. And firing somebody is never an easy thing, because I've spoken to business owners before who've had to do it because times have become tough, and they always talk about how painful it was, because you're not just firing one person, you're affecting an entire family. And so that's the thing, you know, I've come to realize as I've matured that, you know, it's okay if you work a 9 to 5 as long as you're not complaining when you're doing it. Because if you're complaining every single month about the job that
you
you're
need
in,
to change. As soon as you start complaining, you need to change.
and I think people feel like they can't for some reason. That I can't change it. You can. You're just afraid of being in an unfamiliar environment or starting over.
Starting over is the hard part. I think that's, like, I've always said that the issue is not changing jobs and getting the job. It's can I do it?
Am I good enough?
Yeah, am I good enough? And I get it. Like it, and then if you do get it, should you have got it? And then you get what's that thing?
Like buyer's remorse. Like, is that what you mean? Like,
no, so when you don't think you deserve it, like
imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. That's the one. Yeah, you start like should I?
Yeah,
am I a fraud? But everyone thinks like that.
Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah, and we've spoken about this before. Employers in the job descriptions, you know, they talk like Shakespeare. You know, they use the fanciest words. Must be able to quantitatively analyze them. You know,
must know all CRM systems and
must be able to
navigate the database. It's
navigate the universe. Followed by, it's like, you know, it's very normal to look at that and be like, whoa,
dude, it puts me off.
Can I do that?
I don't think these recruiters realize that if they're actually wanting like staff or new hires, they need to like not dumb it down, but be realistic. Don't be silly with like how much they need to do. Just like, look, we need someone who is going to take calls or make calls, and these are going to be your like usual tasks, not like the ins and outs of how like weird it is, because then it just puts people off.
Yeah. Also, somebody could, you know, this whole overqualified thing. There are going to be people that are overqualified for the job, but also when it comes to overqualified, I find it a bit corny as well, because that means you're too good. You're too good for the job.
There's no such thing as overqualified.
No,
I've met people that have got degrees in psychology, and then I've watched them like become a therapist, and I've just been like, you actually, I've spoken with you, and I think you know nothing about it. You know enough
You're book smart.
you know enough to pass an exam or write a paper about it, but you don't know, like, when it comes to practical matters and truly understanding it, you don't know much.
I think that's what they mean when they say overqualified. They probably mean you're going to overanalyze, you're going to find different ways to self-sabotage. We want somebody who knows just enough to get the job done, but somebody who is like an action taker, not somebody who's going to sit down and analyze the data. But that usually happens in, I don't want to disrespect people by saying lower end jobs, but jobs that maybe don't require much in terms of qualifications, less skilled. They'll tend to use phrases like overqualified, because, you know, back early in my 20s when I worked at warehouses and stuff, that was something that was thrown around quite a bit. Customer service centers, you know, overqualified to the job. They worry about that quite a lot, because they know if you're overqualified, you're probably going to analyze the environment there,
or you're more likely to leave.
That's what I'm saying, and you're going to be like, well, there's loads of gaps here. This is stupid. Get at it, because they want somebody who's just compliant. Shut up.
Yeah,
done.
Compliant is the thing. Yeah. Like when I worked for a credit card company, like they hated me. The only reason I'm pretty sure they didn't get rid of me is because I knew what I was doing. Like I just pick up everything very quickly.
Yeah.
And I can see that they didn't like me there, but I knew what I was doing. And it's the compliant that people that made it far or made it further, and the people that, I mean, it's understandable, especially when you're with credit cards and it's like people's livelihood and it's money involved and there's loads of like rules and regulations. Like you need people who follow compliance quite well. But I think it's crazy that you just want slaves that are scared of losing their job.
Yeah.
And that's not good for humans. It's good for the business. It's just not good for humans. And I really hate that.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, man. Like what I learned at that credit card place was invaluable, but Like you can tell. Like I was always just there with other people that are like-minded, just sitting with them like, we can't say this, we can't do this. Like we need to be very careful.
Yeah.
And luckily I had like a good enough team to we like watch each other's backs.
Look, I think the culture is the most important part.
Yeah.
You know, are the people there welcoming? You know, is there good banter in the office?
That's the only way I'd stay at a job I don't like. That's the only way. Like I can go through hell if I'm with you. Do you know what I mean? I can go through hell as long as me and you we'll get beaten up together on the way through. Do you know what I mean? And we'll speak to the devil together, and it will suck, but I'm having fun with my friend. Do you know what I mean?
I think that a working environment. This is why I say to guys all the time: if you're in an environment where you're treated like shit, leave. With your head held up high. And look, sometimes you're going to have to experience a little bit more pain because you're searching for jobs. You know, it's still a wiser idea to make sure you line up a job before you leave. So you might have to stay a little bit longer than what you want to do. However, if it gets to a point where it's just absolute disrespect, just leave. Trust me, you'll figure out how to keep your head up and how to pay for your bills.
If they're being disrespectful to you, usually they're trying to get rid of you anyway.
Yes.
Like that's it, first and foremost. Like if they're being disrespectful to you and they're not trying to keep you there, they're not like actively like, oh, is there anything I can do to help? And
sometimes they want you to say something out of pocket so they could be like, ha,
yeah, get out. HR.
Yeah.
HR, buddy, HR.
HR, man, honestly, the most sensitive.
They're just doing their jobs, but it's gotten mad.
It's become crazy.
It's mad.
Now you can't crack a joke without offending anybody. And
so I got in trouble with HR at my credit card job because some girl asked me, Sammy, would you date like a bigger girl? And I was like, it's not really my thing. I go to the gym. I like healthy people. So I'd rather date someone who's healthier.
Okay.
And then she was like, oh, that's really unfair. That's really shallow. And I was just like, not really. And they're like, then she asked, would you go for someone who's really skinny? Like too skinny. It's like I'm not too bothered. Like as long as they're not unhealthily, I don't want unhealthy people in my life. As much as it is shallow, I'm not going to add a problem to my life. As much as it's a shame that whatever that person's going for, I hope they get through it. But like I don't want to add more problems to my life when I've already got enough. I've got to deal with my own. And she was like, oh, that's unfair. And I was like, look, if you don't like what I'm saying, don't ask me questions you don't want the answers to. Like turn around and get on with your work. You know, she got upset, and then before you know it, I'm in an HR meeting because I said I wouldn't date a fat girl. And then I was just like, that's not even how it was said. I'm dealing with this. And like I remember just my manager sitting down with me like, what is going on? And I was just like, I just answered questions. I should just have shut up.
I think this is why in 2023, it's as sad as this sounds, you just got to go in there, clock in, hi, you're right, Darren, all right, cool, sit down, do your job, get out. Because the reality is, some people are looking for reasons to be offended. And maybe they just don't like the way you talk, the way you dress, whatever, and they'll, find a reason to.
I think it's a power grab. I think it's an absolute power grab. I don't like what you said. I can't assert my dominance over you right now, so I'm going to use a system against you. It's a power grab. The thing that everyone forgets is, as much as you don't think you're fueled by power, we all are. We all are. Like
sometimes you want to eliminate competition because there's a position available.
Exactly. Like we all want something, and if you want something, you need power to get that thing, whether you like it or not. If you're someone who is truly like Buddha, like doesn't need anything in this world, then yeah, fair enough. But like 99% of people aren't.
And people that are looking for reasons to get rid of you, a lot of these people are just insecure by your strengths.
Yeah.
You might be a better speaker than they are. You might be able to, get everybody on your side better than they can. Maybe people gravitate towards you naturally because you're more charismatic, and they're like, oh, look at this guy.
Destroy competition.
The office loves him.
Yeah.
I remember that job I told you I had where I was speaking about fragrances to some of my colleagues, and the sales manager called me in saying, don't speak about fragrances because some people in the office can't afford them, and it's not right of you to do that. And it's I'm like, what are you talking about? Somebody asked me what I was wearing, and I told them, and they looked it up, and they were like, oh, that's pretty expensive. I said, yeah, just downplaying it. I don't go, oh yeah, well I spent this much on it because I can make that much money.
I think people just rub other people up the wrong way.
He actually said this to me. He said, And this is why I knew it was the insecurity that was coming from him, because he said, "You come in this office with your big swinging dick," and at the time I didn't even mention it to the owner of the business. I was like, I wanted to leave anyways because that environment was not healthy, and he was somebody that came in and he was just so, how can I put it? Anything I did rubbed him off the wrong way. And every job that I've ever had, I've always been polite and I got on with my job. I did it to the best of my ability, and I wasn't seeking, to upset anybody. I wasn't speaking about controversial topics. I just do whatever I got to do and get out. But I still remember that moment, and I was like, it's interesting. He found offense. And
he found a reason.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you come in here with your big swinging dick, and you think you're." I'm like, "Wow."
I think that's a lot of people's problem. They create their own enemies.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to.
And I was cool with him before that.
There's so many people that I've disliked at the beginning. Like, one of my closest friends, Dom. I didn't like him at the beginning. Disliked him. We almost got into a fight, and then after a while, we ended up talking, and then we ended up working together. And then it turns out we had a lot in common. And he filled in knowledge gaps for me, and I filled in knowledge gaps for him. I helped him with dating. I think that's actually how it started. Like, I just showed him that I was like very cheeky, and how I got like all the stuff I learned from like I don't like the pickup artist community, but like what I learned from it, because there's a few things that it helps you with your charisma and trust yourself. But like I helped him with that, and he helped me understand geopolitics, and he really broke down things for me. And he works in intelligence right now, so he's always telling me what's going on. Like, Sammy, we need to invest in this, where otherwise we're in trouble. But it's always, I think everyone has something to offer, whether you like them or don't, and you can make friends that way. Just look at, if you can't find one good quality for your enemy, you hate them for no reason, like an ego reason.
You allow your emotion to cloud your judgment.
You need to check yourself. But everyone has good qualities, whether you like it or not. Everyone.
Yeah.
Whether or not you want to associate that person's a different story.
I think you've got to give people a chance to show you their good qualities.
Well, it's more just assimilate their good qualities, and then just like ignore their bad qualities. You learn from everyone. It doesn't matter who. Like, you have to take on everyone's, like, that's how the human experience is. We didn't wake up and start speaking. You woke up and, like, as you're becoming conscious, you're taking on skills and assets of other people. Now you're conscious, you have to look for skills and assets you want, good or bad, people, and then like kind of try to find a way to assimilate what you like about that person. It's the reason why coaching calls are really good, because you see the qualities you want, and then you try to assimilate from that person. You ask the right questions to get the right answers. It's all programming. You're programming. You either let the system program you, or you decide what is programmed. And like, I just feel like a lot of people are losing so much potential just because they ignore someone because there's something they don't like about them.
Yeah, exactly. I think you've got to lower your guard and be open-minded. I think being open-minded is something that you can work on. It's a skill. Some people grow up in families where the parents are just skeptics. Everything is out to get you. Everything is risky, and they create this sense of paranoia in you where you grow up afraid of taking risks, and you need to unlearn that. And
life's a risk.
Everything's risky.
Not doing anything's a risk.
Well, that's the thing. Jim Rohn used to say, if you think the bill for trying is high, wait until you get the bill for not trying.
What a guy.
And so you've got to learn to become open-minded. And sometimes people don't really have anything to teach you, but you can learn what not to do from them. Some guy keeps sabotaging every relationship he's in. You can learn what not to do by looking at how he carries himself. This guy just, he's all over the place. He's not... so everyone teaches you something, and like you said, you got to just remove emotion from it. Don't let emotion cloud your judgment, and just observe, ask questions. Now, look, some people won't allow you to learn from them, and so you got to just learn from a distance. Let that person carry on causing havoc in their lives, and just learn from them from a distance. And some people are going to be glad to help you out in life. They're going to be like, yeah, absolutely. People are afraid to ask.
I love helping people. Like, I know, like I told you, like I help you with the mics are set up because of my music like degree, I could, and this is part of my qualification. Like, I love helping. I want to be helpful. I remember someone, they don't like how, when I was working at the credit card company, they didn't like how cheeky I was and how I spoke to women, how I got women, and so he never trusted anything I said. And I'd see him talking to a girl he really likes. I was friends with this girl, so it was like, it's not a problem. But after he tried something, he'd like bring her coffee every day without asking her, just like bringing her in coffee. And I was like, I remember pulling him aside and I'm like, look, dude, like, I know you like her. And he's like, yeah, how'd you know? I was like, you bring her coffees every day, my friend. You bring her coffees every day. It's obvious, right? She knows. The problem is, as nice as that is, you're gonna get used. Let me show you. He's like, no, I don't want to be anything like you. I was like, you don't have to be like me. I'm just telling you that your method, which is what's the toxic thing that men do? They kind of give them everything.
People pleasing, like,
yeah, it was like that people pleasing kind of.
Yeah.
He was a people pleaser.
The nice guy.
Yeah,
So.
This nice guy mentality is not good. You should be a good guy, not a nice guy.
Okay, explain to the audience what the difference is between a nice guy and a good guy.
A nice guy is a yes man. A nice guy is like, I'll do that for you. I'll get that for you. A good guy is like being able to say no for their own good. You know what I mean? Or being able to say no for your own good. Like, I want you to pick me up and take me here. Like, honey, I'm busy right now. I can pick you up this time then. No, I want you to pick me up now. No, I have things to do. You can find another way, or, you know, for example, do you know what I mean? Rather than be like, yeah, I'll drop everything for you now.
I think people are afraid to upset the person.
Yeah.
And so they think that being nice will get them what they want. However, women want you to stand up for yourself.
Yeah,
they want you to say, I can't.
Well, they want a man with a backbone, regardless or not. And everyone, whether you like it or not, tests you. I test you.
Yeah.
I say something just to see how you'd react to it. I'm just testing the waters.
Stomach.
Yeah, like, and you're like,
and he stands there.
unfazed. I do it to my sisters constantly. I'm like, all right, let's see what I can. Let's see if I can annoy them. Let's see.
I piss off my sisters all the time.
Right, and you're testing their ego to see how they react, and then you kind of move based on that. And women do that for their man, like from what I've seen. Maybe not every woman, but like they might subconsciously do it. They test to see what they can get away with and to see
Every woman does that. Shit
like,
testing. Yeah.
I don't know. I was speaking to a woman earlier today. She was saying she enjoys a man being able to being assertive. That is it. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. You're not going to do that. Like, don't take the mick. You know, do you know what I mean? It's being able to understand when someone's trying to take advantage.
Because then they'll feel sorry for you. If you say yes to everything, you remove any tension. And I'm not saying that tension...
No, it's push and pull. It's tension. It's tension release. Like,
exactly.
That's life.
It's not a negative tension, like, oh no, you know, she's afraid that you'll beat her up or anything.
Yeah, no, that's toxic.
It's
like,
sexual tension.
Yeah.
You know, if she gets mad at you, sometimes she just wants to fucking rip your clothes off and, you know, have her way with you. If you're like, yeah, honey, anything you want, happy wife, happy life. You know?
Dude, I don't even like other men like that. It upsets me. If you give me if you give me everything I ask for and you're another dude, like, I'm gonna take advantage of that. Like, why would I not? Like, after a while, I'd feel bad. I'm like, dude, stop giving me stuff. Stop saying yes.
You'll end up feeling sorry for this person.
And I don't want to feel that. Like, and if you put yourself in a woman's shoes, they don't want to feel sorry for you. They want to feel proud of you.
Yeah.
They want to be able to show you off, not be like.
Well, I've said this before in videos. A woman doesn't feel sexually attracted to a man she feels sympathy for. If you feel sorry for somebody, there's no sexual tension whatsoever. It's like a mother and child.
Well, it's the same with women. Like, do you feel sexually attracted to someone who you have sympathy for? Like, I feel sorry for them. Now I want to sleep with them.
Sorry for them.
No,
it's
different.
It's different. Yeah. So that's why a man has to say no from time to time. Not because it's a strategy.
Yeah. And it's not about a tactic. It's being okay hurting feelings. Like, it's being okay putting yourself first. Like, because I've always said earlier, like, you still got to put yourself in there. It's just that there's everyone else there. But like, it's being okay putting yourself first and understanding your own boundaries. Having boundaries is very good. This is what I will not tolerate. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Please. I want to respect you. Don't disrespect me.
And I think, touching on boundaries, you become better at setting boundaries the older you get, because when you're young, you don't know what your boundaries are.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Exactly.
So you accept anything. And this is why a lot of guys will try and save a relationship 5 years later, because they now know what their boundaries are. But when they started dating, maybe when they were 20, 21, they didn't know. And so now they're trying to correct something. But in reality, I don't want to use the word they're not compatible, because compatibility is an achievement of love, not something you need from the beginning.
That.
However, you realize that, okay, this person isn't going to change. And some people just won't change.
Yeah.
And so
Some people don't want to change, or they're not ready to change.
Yeah.
And you are right.
And so you have to just end the relationship in the most gentleman-like way.
Dude, Joe, so with this guy that I was telling you about, or saying about, in the end, the girl ended up saying to me, like, Sammy, can you talk to him? Because I do like the guy, but he gives me the ick, because he gives me everything I want. I don't want that. I want someone who is able to take no, and like, who is able to, you know, be a little bit aggressive. I don't know why. It's weird. We get told off for being aggressive now because, you know, the world is the way it is. But there's like, there's like a good amount of aggressive. I can tell you to shut up, and you can tell me to shut up, and I'll be like, all right, sorry, mate. Yeah. And we'll accept it. And that, I think everyone finds it attractive, whether it's sexual attraction or like just. Like I want all my friends to be able to say no to me, because if they don't, I'll take the mick. And I don't want people that I'm taking the mick of. You're just a resource then. I don't want you to be a resource. You're my friend. We're allies. That's it.
I think setting boundaries and self-esteem intertwine. Somebody who's great at setting boundaries has high self-esteem.
Yeah.
Somebody who
they know they want,
crap at setting boundaries probably has
needy,
low self-esteem, is struggling.
Not needy, because you crave attention and intimacy so bad that you're willing to give up your own wants and needs. Yeah. And that's unfortunate, and I wish the best for those people, but they you need to get a backbone, like you do. Like you really do.
And you have to learn from every experience that you go through. A lot of guys will break up with a girl and then rush to get back into another situation with a woman and just repeat what they did previously, you know. And obviously the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again, expecting different results. You have to pause. And this is why I always say, don't rush. I had a coaching call recently with a guy who is still struggling with the breakup that he's been through months later. He's trying to process the trauma. And I told him, it's okay to go through the pain that you're going through. It's very natural to grieve the loss of somebody. He asked me whether he should start seeing people. And I said, listen, in my personal opinion, what you should do now with this time that you've got is address your shortcomings. The reality is you've probably neglected yourself quite considerably over the last 2 years, because he was with her for 2 years. And I told him, it's time to look in the mirror now and address your weight. It's time to look at your bank account and address the financial problems.
Well, you said this before. You said that if they've left you, they're hedging their bets on someone else.
Well, that's exactly what it is. I mean, a woman leaving you is her placing a bet against your future.
Exactly. They don't trust who you will become. Yeah, that's it.
And I said this to him, actually. I said this to him.
They
Let that
don't
ring
trust.
In your ear.
That is
not in a negative, spiteful way, but in a way of wanting to better yourself. You know, I don't blame my ex for leaving me, because I had a lot of shortcomings. And it was only after the relationship that I realised, you know what?
I was get my stuff together,
lacking. What the fuck's wrong with me? Exactly. I wasn't working on my purpose. I wasn't taking care of my fitness. I was a shadow of the person that she met on day one. And so I don't blame her whatsoever. And so I took that incredible pain that I went through.
I went gym every day.
And I just, you know what I'm saying, harness that. I hit the gym.
Like, bettering yourself is painful, because we're the sculptor and the sculpture. Do you know what I mean? We have to chisel away at ourselves and really tackle what we don't want to know about ourselves. We have to understand that we are flawed. And then fix it. Understanding is the hard part, and then fixing it is, I'd say, it's just as hard.
I think.
But then a problem written down, or a problem known, is a problem halved.
Exactly. So you got to be aware of where your shortcomings are. Jim Rohn talks about the day that turns your life around, and it's the day that you experience disgust. disgust at how you've let yourself go, at the neglect that has occurred. And then it's coupling that disgust with action. Because ultimately, without coupling it with action, you're going to stay in the same situation. You can't be disgusted at yourself and not do anything. You have to look in the mirror, and we'll touch on fitness now, actually.
I was about to say, what was the heaviest you've been?
Oh, I was a big boy.
What was the heaviest you've been? Come on, tell me.
I think I was 95 kilograms.
95, big boy.
Kilograms. I was a big boy.
I think I got to 100 kilograms.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah.
Off. That was only like 2 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
I wish I could like show the picture of me. Oh my God.
It's crazy, man. I mean, we've both undergone major fitness transformations.
And we went down different routes with it, which is interesting. And you're because you had a personal trainer as well. You did so well. You got down to 78 kilograms. You looked lean, man. It was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy.
You know, just to summarize very, very quickly my fitness transformation. I was 95 kilograms or so November 2022. In fact, almost a year ago now. It's crazy. I realized that I had to do something, and I remember telling you, Samie, I need to do something about my weight. I don't like the way that I look. And I remember sitting down with you in Costa and just telling you, I'm going to start working with this guy.
Yeah.
You know,
he's coming on the podcast soon, isn't he?
Soon. Yeah. Shout out to Sam. I need to acquire the right information. As I say, information changes situations, and I didn't have enough information.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
Oh yeah.
Or knowledge gives you
makes you aware.
Yeah.
And then you got to do something with this new awareness that you've got. Because if you don't act on it, it will just be information.
Nothing. Yeah.
And that's why so many people out there today know a lot about a lot, but they're in the same situation. So I realized, okay, something has to change. I met Sam. He told me, what do you eat every day? And I told him, meal deal, 12 o'clock, this, just poor nutrition.
Yeah. Nutrition is like, I think nutrition is like 80% of your journey.
At the time, I was still going to the gym.
Yeah. We were both going to the gym.
We were both going to the gym, and we were hitting heavy weights. It wasn't like we were
able to lift.
About.
I mean, you got a video of us at our heaviest.
Oh yeah.
Or not at our heaviest, close to our heaviest, and yeah, it's interesting looking back. You sent them to me. I'm like, oh,
man, look at those
dude, I'm never gonna go back to that, man. No way.
Honestly, when you're in it, you don't realize. You think you look fine.
Yeah.
It takes someone who pauses and just takes a closer look. You know what? I shouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of tits here. This is embarrassing.
I think it's like the insatiable need to look like one of the boys from 300. You know what I mean? Like one of the lads, just like they just look like tanks, man. All of them. I want that. That's what I want. Unrealistic. Like if you think about it, like if you get to that point, now that we know how fitness works, like getting to that point is and staying at that point. Getting to the point is doable. Staying at that point is unsustainable.
For sure. I mean, this is the thing. It got to the point where, and touching back on what I said about disgust, I was disgusted with myself. I decided to obviously undergo this transformation. We went through my nutrition plan, and then obviously he put together a workout plan for me as well. The workout aspect was more straightforward.
Yeah.
The nutrition aspect, making sure that I focus on what I'm eating every day.
Did you read any books for it?
I know you mentioned the Glucose Revolution.
See, that's what I used as like a staple for me. But did you read any?
Honestly,
or did you just listen to Sam's?
Yeah, Sam broke it down to me. He was like, right, he explained how so the composition of my diet needs to change, and I need to focus more on this than that, and.
Because you used calories rather than you was like just calorie deficit.
Yeah, calories and
burn
also
down.
Each meal was created slightly differently. So I reduced sort of my overall carbs. Carbs are not bad, so.
It depends on what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You need carbs every single day.
You need carbs. You need all this stuff. There's not one thing you should cut out. Like even sugar, you shouldn't cut it out. But there's such thing as too much.
Yeah, of course.
So from the glucose revolution, I just avoided anything that spiked my insulin, or anything that spiked it. I tried to stay away from. So I cut my carbs. I didn't cut them out, but I brought them down. So I halved my carbs completely. We don't take sugar with our coffee anymore. We took that out. If we were to eat carbs, we were to eat a big meal that spikes our insulin, we'd go for a walk constantly, so we'd counteract it. So in the book it says that basically if your insulin spiked, your body will burn the energy it just ate but won't burn fat storages. So you kind of have to
consciously take effort.
Yeah. It's weird. Like I can't quote it word for word, but like the book is really interesting. I highly recommend reading it. It's very interesting to know how glucose spikes really do affect your body. Like they really do. And not only that, it ages you badly. Like just look at people that eat unhealthy. What do you think that unhealthy food does to your body? Right, and look at the composition of this unhealthy food. It's high sugar, high carbs. Fats are very good for you. Don't listen to anyone that says fat's bad for you. Fat is very good for you.
Red meat is good. Eggs are good.
All of that is so good for you. Obviously, too much of anything is bad for you. But that stuff is so good for you. But anything that spikes your insulin, what ends up happening is like I don't know if you've ever eaten like biryani, big carby food, and you feel tired afterwards, sluggish. That's your insulin spiking, right? And then not only that, if you eat sugar, what ends up happening is your glucose spikes and then crashes, and then you need to eat now because you're craving something. You're craving that sugar because you need to get back to normal levels. And then you eat, and then it spikes again, and then it crashes. And you kind of have to balance that out. The more you balance your glucose levels and your like insulin spikes, the better it is for you. And that's how I worked mostly. It didn't get me to your level of body because you were really focusing on on calories, whereas I was cutting my calories, but I wasn't like doing it all the way. But I mean, it depends on what our goals were, because at the start you were able to lift way more than me. You were able to do like way more than me, and now I've got to a point where I can lift more than you, but I think that's just because of
some exercises.
Legs I neglect, man. I just because I want to keep my weight off. I don't want to work my legs because I know that the most of the mass will like just go there. Like they'll grow, and then you'll be like, I'll gain 5 kilograms, and it's all just leg muscle.
So you lost how many kilograms?
Oh, I went down. Like I said, I went down from like 100 kilograms. I'm down to 82 now.
82. That's
82.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I remember when you were 100 kilograms.
I had a fight when I was like 95 kilograms. Ugh.
And I remember I think it was the first time we had a workout together. You were struggling to do like a couple of pull-ups.
Yeah, I could only do like 2.
Yeah, and now you can just breeze through them.
Yeah, it's like set of 12, another set of 12, and then maybe I'd struggle with the last like 12.
And it's crazy how it makes you feel so much more energetic when you get rid of excess body fat. I mean, when I was 78 kilograms at my lowest, and that was all in the span of like 3 or 4 months, from 95 kilograms, and I was 10% body fat at one point. I'll be honest, 10% body fat I struggled with. Yeah. Because I was tired all the time.
I remember you just looking at me like, Sam, we're not going there because we're not going anywhere because I know I want to eat and I can't.
I was ripped.
Yeah,
right?
dude,
I was struggling.
It was mad.
And I think my body likes to be around 12% body fat. I think that for me is probably the lowest that I like to keep. And I always say to guys on my videos, if you can stay between 12 to 15% body fat all year round, that's good.
So I'm about 18%. But I like to eat. I just eat whatever, don't I? Like apart from obviously cut the carbs. I cut the carbs and sugars. But I eat whatever, as long as.
I want to talk about walking as well, because that's something that we didn't do much of in the early stages a couple of years ago.
It's an easy way to burn calories. How much is 10,000 steps? Like 600 calories, 500 to 600 calories.
560 calories, something like that,
Mad. And we just go for a walk, and not only does it help burn fat, it's good for your mind, man. And we'll just sit there and talk like this.
I think some of the best conversations I had when you're walking, especially somewhere nice, good scenery, by a lake, the combos just flow, and it's only about an hour and a half of walking.
Yeah.
It's not
if that, mate, it's half hour, really. We did like an hour and a half of walking.
I think 10K is about an hour and a half.
Really?
Yeah, it's about 6 kilometers an hour, hour and a half.
I think it's just for us to get to our 10,000 steps. It was about half hour.
Yeah, so
after the day.
Exactly. And, if you're somebody who works out an office job and maybe by the time you finish it's too dark to go anywhere, get a standing desk and one of those under the desk treadmills, and as you're working, walk. You're not running, so you're able to still carry on doing what you're doing, and also you're getting an exercise out of it as well. And
or walk on your breaks. Like just walk on your breaks. Yeah. Like when I'm at work, I go for a half-hour walk. Still about 5,000 steps. What's the average steps someone does in a day?
Oh, awful. I remember a typical day for me before I began this
That 2,000, 3,000 steps.
2,300, something like that. And, you know, because obviously my phone recorded all the data.
Yeah.
So I was curious. I went back in time to look at what I was doing. And I was like, yo, I was only doing like 2,000. And there were days where I only did 800. And it's crazy because
There's a reason why we're all skinny when we were younger. It's because we walked to school.
we were
walked
lucky.
around. We was around like in the playground, walking around, getting to lesson. So we're doing all the steps, and you don't realize how much it actually adds up.
and we were so fortunate to be the last generation to still have fun outside and
Oh yeah, climbing trees and stuff.
climb trees, graze your knee,
Yeah.
fall down from a tree. I fell flat on my face once.
Get stung by a bee.
Yeah. Well, I had a wasp fly into my sock, and this was at my mum's friend's house. I was going to see my mum because she was there, and all I heard, and I felt something in my sock.
Ugh.
I don't know how it got in there, because obviously your sock wraps around your ankle.
Yeah.
And I was like, how the hell did it went in there, and it started stinging the shit out of me, and I still have a scar from it, by the way.
Yeah.
It was that painful. And I remember my mum got some vinegar out and everything.
Yeah, it's
Typical
always the
West African,
vinegar.
yeah.
No, vinegar works,
And
man.
olive oil, all that
Yeah,
bullshit.
olive oil is the typical
I
Mediterranean
was
one.
just screaming in agony, honestly. But I remember one time when I was 8 years old.
I remember one time.
Right? I was on a bicycle and I had a skipping rope and I was pretending to be a cowboy. I don't know why.
Because you're an idiot.
I was like, and it got
Kids
caught.
are funny, man.
Honestly, and it got caught on one of the wheels, and I was traveling at some speed.
Flew.
And what happened was the bike flipped like that, and I fell flat on my nose.
Yeah.
And I always laugh about it to this day. And I always tell my siblings I got a flat nose because I fell on it on concrete. Honestly,
I used to do the dumbest stuff. So I don't know if you've ever been to Thurston.
Yeah.
So in Thurston, there's like a hill that goes like that.
Yeah.
I remember going down that on a trolley, like, or I remember. So I went one time. My friends dared me to go down all like on my bike and don't press the brakes once, and I didn't know the side that I was going down as a dip that goes at the bottom. So I go, I fly. I'm like in the air for like a solid 3 days, and I hit the pavement, chin scraped, elbows. I was just looking at my friends going. Ran home. Like half hour later, I'm back like with plasters everywhere. And like, all right, let's do it again.
Isn't it crazy that our parents let us stay at their house for like 10 hours without knowing where the fuck we were?
Oh, dude.
We didn't have phones.
Yeah.
I didn't get my
Stay in the
first
street.
phone.
Yeah, sure, mum.
Yeah, all right. Just don't die. You know.
Yeah.
And
That's what Dad was like. Dad was like, yeah, just don't die.
Yeah, don't
Mums are like, yeah, stay where I can see you.
Yeah.
And then Dads are like, yeah, just like. But have you seen those memes that like, yeah, just like it's optional if you stay in the UK, you know?
Yeah. No, honestly, it was hilarious, man. I got my first phone when I was 17, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine was like 13. It was like the LG cookie.
Oh, I had a Motorola.
Motorola, yeah.
Yeah. There was I think there was one time Samsung released a phone. It was a flip phone, but when it closes, there was a screen that showed you the time.
Okay.
And I remember at the time I was so amazed by it. I was like, yo, when you close the screen, the time? No way. And now you got 8-year-olds with the latest iPhone. Yeah.
You've got better phones than me, dude.
Honestly, I can't. Look, I understand that times have changed, and you don't want to isolate your kids by not giving them a phone because everybody in their school will have one, and you know it's just not fair. However, you still got to make sure that you monitor their activity just so that they don't harm themselves as well.
I don't think keeping anyone who's on their screen too much, I think it's very bad. Like it's easy to doom scroll. I don't think kids should be subjected to that stuff, man. It's such sloppy parenting to just be like,
Give them the iPad.
yeah, it's such sloppy. I moaned at my mum for this with little Marley. Like I know she's trying and she's doing her best, but I'm just like, this is not good, man. When I was his age, like I'm out on the streets like doing the stupidest stuff, playing at the park on my own. Whereas like I said, like she won't let him go out of like the area, like out of sight. And it's different. Like times are really different. We really had the lost freedoms as children.
We really did.
Like you barely see kids on the streets now.
Exactly.
Even Halloween, like Halloween back in the day, everyone was trick or treating. No one trick or treats anymore. It's rare.
Times have changed. How would you raise a kid in 2023?
I would have them so busy that they have no time to be on their phone or on the internet. I want to make sure my child can speak one other language, so English and whatever language, probably Arabic, can do one instrument, probably piano, and one combat sport. And whatever combat sport they want to do,
Keep
really.
them busy during the week.
Yeah, all the time. I'll spend some serious money, like at least, like I don't care, whatever it takes to have these kids doing something. And if they don't like it, cool, pick something else. We'll try it out. I'm not going to force my kids to do it, but I want them to at least have a focus on like acquiring knowledge and skills. And that's one of the things like I wanted to do as when I was younger, but my parents didn't really have the money to put me through it. Like, I don't even speak Arabic, man. I'm annoyed.
Fake North African.
Yeah, literally, dude. I hate it. I couldn't speak like a few words.
You only know Algerian swear words.
Yeah, well, I definitely know Algerian swear words.
Yeah.
But I know like a few sentences, and I can like pick up kind of what you're going on about. Which be
yeah.
I can kind of like guess what you're on about, but it's like picking words out of the sentence and being like, oh, okay, call me a donkey, yeah. Hamar. Yeah. But yeah, it's I want to make sure that my kids really have something like in their pocket when as they get older. So, oh yeah, I used to do this, I can do this. And we all have that thing that we're like, oh yeah, if I tried harder, I reckon I would have been like a pro footballer or a pro singer or a pro something. I could have been a negotiator or a translator because of a skill that we did when we were younger and we didn't get pushed into it. And I think that's one of the biggest things is when you're a child, you don't know any better. You should just trust your parents. I hate it when people are like, oh yeah, my child doesn't want it, so I don't do it for them. It's like, I get that, but you need to push them because if you don't, life will.
I think a lot of parents are just too afraid of their kids messing up, of their kids getting hurt, and so they want them to follow a safe and stable
bubble
path.
wrap babies.
That's the thing. I will make sure that with my kids, they recognize how good they are. I won't lie to them. If they don't do well in a certain area, I'll tell them that. Tough love.
You're not doing well here, but this is how you can improve.
Yeah,
right?
I'll make sure to give
You're
them
not fast yet.
criticism.
This is how you get better. Or I'll run with you. Don't worry. And that's one of the things. Like parents expect their child to do what they won't do, and you shouldn't do that. You should do it. Best way to motivate kids. Do it with them.
Do it with them. Yeah.
Do it with them. Kids copy. That's monkey see, monkey do for them.
Oh, 100%.
I'm still in monkey see, monkey do. Like if you can do it, I'll just be like, all right, I'm going to try that too. That's fun. And
your dad needs to be your hero.
Dude, and my dad was my hero. Now that we're older, I'm a bit like, oh, Dad, I can have you now. Don't worry. Hey, you could definitely have me. But
how many kids can genuinely say that? How many kids can genuinely say that
my
their dad
hero.
was their hero growing up?
Yeah, my mum and my dad were my heroes growing up. It's unfortunate I got to an age where, and situations dictate, where I was like, I appreciate what you are and how you did it, but
you've got to be empathetic. I think I said this recently on a podcast as well. You've got to be empathetic to the fact that your parents were also at one point young and inexperienced.
Yeah,
it's scary having a child when you're 25, 26, 27.
Well, every time a parent has a child, it's their first time having one child, two children, three children.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That
especially the first child.
Yeah,
you're like, yo, there's a mini version of me here.
Yeah,
I need to protect it, keep it safe. I need to make sure it has a beautiful life.
I was lucky that I wasn't like babied and smothered. I was helped out a lot when I was younger, but I was definitely kind of thrown in the deep end a lot of the time.
The eldest child in most families is the one that gets the brunt. It is the one that gets the slaps.
I got the most hits.
And then later on, the parents are like, all right, just give her the iPad.
Yeah.
They spoil the youngest.
I think they learned from us that we'd still do it. Yeah. So they'd still do it, so just give them what they want.
You become the second parent now. They delegate now.
Oh, not me.
The director of operations. That's what I became to my younger siblings.
My sisters were like that. But on my mum's side, luckily my mum was there all the time. But on my dad's side, now my sister that's younger than me, she definitely become the mum and had to look after the younger ones, bless her.
Well, that's the thing. You subconsciously become the director of operations. You know, I'm now the second father to my younger siblings, and they come to me for problems.
That's the thing now.
Yeah.
Like that my sisters come up to me like, Samie, I respect you so much. They have no idea. Like I would come to you for advice about anything, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, this should have been default. Like, why even said it?
Yeah.
Like, And it's weird. So I was more expected to be the protector. So whenever stuff went wrong, because I have loads of sisters and loads of cousins as well. And whenever something went wrong, it's like, all right, talk to your older cousin or talk to your older brother. He's going to sort it out. And I'm just like, great.
But I like it.
I've got to deal with the bullies now.
You know, I like it when my younger siblings come to me for advice because they trust me enough to.
No, I love, like I said, I like help. I love helping people. I want to, and I also want to be like cheeky and smug. Like, yeah, did you think that was a good idea? Yeah, just to annoy them. Like,
so you think, you know, yeah,
which me?
Yeah, which think that was a tragic mistake. That was, you know, but you're talking to the right guy.
Don't worry, I'll show you how to do it right. Exactly. You're such a smart guy.
Watch and learn. Watch and learn.
Like, my sister comes to me with Nadia. She comes to me with boy issues all the time. And I'm like, you're silly because you're treating men how you think. You got to stop doing that. You got to treat men how they think. Same with men. Like when my little cousins have come to me now that they're getting older, and like, oh, Sammy, what's happening? Like, why can't I get this woman? It's like, you're treating them like you think. Stop doing that.
It's idealistic thinking.
Yeah, you got to treat them like they think. Everything is about how they think, and people can't look outside their own bodies, man. Treat them like they think.
Yeah.
And then once you understand how they think, you can kind of see their world. You just put yourself in their shoes, and you can kind of connect with them better.
100%, yeah, I think.
But yeah,
you've got to see things for how they actually are, not how you want them to be.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of guys go through a lot of frustration, especially with women, because their ideas, their illusions are shattered. I thought women were like this. You know, what do you mean? The more I spend,
the amount my cousin has changed because I've like helped him understand that, like it's. Like you shattering illusions. The idealism really ruins people. Idealism is good. So we're romantic idealists. So we understand idealism. We want that, but we also like we understand the reality. So we romanticized idealism, and we still are like, oh, I want the world to be like this. The world would be great if it was like this, but it's not.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like this. I want this. What you're saying is what we want, but it's not, because. Exactly. I've only suffered. I've only suffered doing what you're saying, but what I'm doing, I don't suffer. I learn, I experience, I grow.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's weird. Like,
I think you've got to be an optimist, despite your realities being shattered in front of your eyes. You still have to be optimistic for the future. You still have to believe that there are good women out there that will love you. You just have to show up differently.
Yeah.
You can't show up in a certain way, get negative feedback, and then get mad and frustrated and then never love a woman again.
I think that's the difference between older children and younger children, because we've dealt with it firsthand. We never got taught this. We had to experience this. So we have the opportunity to share the knowledge of how we messed up or how we managed to succeed, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Like, is that, and like...
your younger siblings will feel more inclined to speak to you because you're more relatable.
I think that's why, like, all of them speak to me, because speaking to my mom or my dad, they tend to not understand and just lecture them, whereas I'm just like, okay, let's solve this problem, rather than give a lecture.
Also, maybe you're less likely to criticize.
Exactly. I'll criticize, but it'll be like in a jokey manner and like okay, sure.
Yeah, I think giving advice as well, it has to be done the right way. You can't say to somebody, you're a piece of shit, you're shit at this. They'll just close off.
You're
straight
dumb.
Away. Yeah.
Like,
If you heard that growing up, I have so much sympathy for you, because it probably messed you up.
Yeah.
If you got told by your
you're
parents,
stupid.
you're stupid, yeah, that's so bad.
Yeah.
Because self-esteem is built in the first 8 years of life. That's why the Spartans used to take kids away from their parents during the first 8 years.
Yeah.
Because they understand that their parents could mess them up if they start feeding them garbage. So they took the kids away and they made sure that they fed them what they wanted the kids to be listening to, so that the kids grow up to be strong and powerful with high self-esteem. And
also understand the rules of society.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think they only thrive because they had one vision. As much as I appreciate diversity and I love diversity, because we experience loads of different things, it's hard to thrive in a society that's diverse, because there's too many ideas that conflict each other. In a society like the Spartans, they all had one goal, and they all moved. All of their movements and all of their actions and decisions were based on, say, for Sparta, for example, was the the glory of Sparta. The only issue with them is they overreached. And like,
how many times a week do you think about the Roman Empire?
oh, don't start. Too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
Oh man, I can't believe people are shocked about that trend. You know.
I don't think people realize how much the Roman Empire has actually affected. We have roads because of the Roman Empire, right? We have plumbing systems because of the Roman Empire.
I think you have to visit Italy, specifically Rome, to see the true magnitude of how glorious this empire once was.
Even in our countries, they have colosseums built by the Romans, crumbling now, but still.
I mean, thousands of years later, some of them are still standing,
Yeah,
which is remarkable. I mean,
like a lot of our buildings can barely last a winter. Do you know what I mean?
oh yeah. I mean, the Romans were so intelligent, and we're still benefiting from a lot of their principles. And I think people have this misconception that, you know, the Egyptians were, you know, not as intelligent as we are today, etc. Look at the pyramids.
The only difference now is we have more information. That's it. We have the same brain power. Nothing's changed. Evolution doesn't happen in like 2,000 years. It happens over like loads of generations, like loads. The human race is apparently like 200,000 years old, right? And that's the human race, the Homo sapiens. Like, there's like,
I ain't.
yeah.
And look,
I respect your. I
the
love
way you
energy.
identify, but I'm just saying.
I ain't no homo.
Yeah.
The homo sapien, you're misunderstanding.
Look, I know there's different words for it, but and I respect you for coming down, but I ain't. Oh, man.
But no, it is interesting. Like people really don't understand the magnitude of. Like,
it's crazy because
how
we
things
are
change.
a much more advanced society today, but we're not using anywhere near as much of our brain power as we once did. The average person now, if he wants an answer to something,
Google.
We're more informed than ever before. The average person's way more informed.
But I think that makes us more manipulated. We're cattle, I think. Like, a lot of us are just cattle because we don't do our own like actual research. We look for someone else's research. Do you know what I mean? We don't do our own thinking. We look for someone else's thinking. And it's the people that do think who can make critically think about a situation and then look for arguments for and against it. But people just look for an opinion and then roll with it. And like back
then, a lot of
like
misinformation today as well.
Each person there's not like they would have to think about, like, you'd have to actually do calculations. If you want to do maths, you have to actually do like maths yourself. Now we just calculator, or you can ask ChatGPT. Do you know what I mean? Like, it'll probably give you the wrong answer. It's really bad at math, but like, you ask. Like, it's just bad that we have. It's good in a lot of ways that we have loads of information, but because of that, you can just. I think it's easy to manipulate people now with this information.
Men today are as confused as they were hundreds or maybe thousands of years ago?
Not at all.
Or do you think it's just because social media has brought that to light?
No, I don't think it's. I think social media is. There's a lot of pros to social media, don't get me wrong, but it's not good if you want a direction, because it pulls you away from a direction. It shows you other people's direction, which is not good. Like,
you have to consciously prevent yourself from self-sabotaging. You know, use social media in a productive way. I've always said this.
Well, you barely consume. Yeah, you mostly post, so you barely consume.
What is the thing? I used to consume quite heavily, and I also, over time, have changed what the algorithms show me. You know, many years ago,
we got like philosophical kind of like pages that come up now.
Ben-Hariz quotes.
Yeah, like that's what we get. And we're just like sending it to each other, like, oh my god, look, this is true, isn't it?
And this is what I say to guys as well who are struggling, for example, with porn addiction.
I
Instagram, it's actually crazy how the algorithms work. I don't blame Instagram. I don't blame TikTok. They give you what you consume.
Exactly. They're just trying to make money and trying to keep you on the app. And if you're constantly liking it, then you're going to see it. I'm at the point now in my life where if I see any girl post thirst traps, I'll delete her. I don't want it. I don't want to see it. As beautiful as they are, that's great. I like that you feel like comfortable in your skin to do that. But I don't want to see. I don't want soft porn. I don't want that.
Well, that's exactly what it is. It's soft
I
pornography.
don't want to be distracted like that. Personally, I would not be happy if my woman was doing that. I mean, each to their own.
And you're entitled to setting your own boundaries.
Each to their own. I'm not like, I would never control a woman. I would never be like, you have to do this now, otherwise you're not going outside. I'd be like, mate,
if you want to do what you can.
But I don't like it.
But not with me.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't like it. And honestly, I get rid of anything like anytime like TikTok shows me like a girl dancing and obviously showing like her butt. I'm like, nah. Like I'll unfollow a page like straight up, like memes are like that one. They started posting like,
I hate meme pages.
Yeah, they've started to like post like porn and like and I follow this girl and I'm like, I don't like this. Don't show me this. I don't want it.
And you can click not interested. By the way, for those of you that are thinking, well, how do I get rid of it? Click on the 3 dots from the post itself and then click show me this less or I'm not interested. And it will slowly start to understand that you don't want to see that shit.
Yeah.
Now, I can't remember the last time on my explore page on Instagram that a woman in a bikini has shown up, or even on TikTok.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Genuinely zero women in bikinis or whatever. And by the way, they can do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want. Like,
but
I respect
feed
more power to them. I just don't want to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to see it.
I want to learn when I'm on social media.
I want to understand. I want my thoughts to be provoked. Like really, really. Like, as much as I know people just like numb their brain just scrolling through, I scroll through so I can learn something, so I can think differently, so I can question my own thoughts, like challenge everything. Because I didn't like Andrew Tate when I first heard him, and then I heard him like way before he got famous, and then he had an interview with someone from the Red Pill community, the person that wrote
The Rational Male.
The Rational Male, yeah, you showed me that book, Rollo Tomasi, and I remember listening to that podcast, and I really enjoyed their interaction, and I started looking more into him, and he started to like, I kind of liked what he had to say, but it's that, like, if you look things to question your reality and to understand more, you get more out of life. But if you're looking there to just like, oh, boobies,
exactly, it makes your brain dead.
Dude, if you want that, go find that. Don't look at pixels on a screen and get pleasure. I think that's weird.
Yeah,
like,
I think a lot of people drown themselves with soft pleasure.
I think it ruins your drive. Like, what do you want? Do you want to have a virtual girlfriend that you like, you know, or do you want to see that in real life and, you know, have someone who you can experience that with? I just like, people
just don't want to pay the price to get that in real life, because it's hard work. It's hard work to change who you are, to lose weight, to make more money. Well, people want immediate pleasure. That's why they watch porn, because they get to see a supermodel naked without having to do any work for it.
Yeah,
I think it tricks your dopamine receptors. Yeah, because you reward yourself. Yeah, but you haven't done the work to attract this woman in the first place. Yeah, you're basically a cuck. That's what it is. When you're watching pornography, you're a cuck. You're sat somewhere and watching somebody else get pleasure.
Yeah, it's like, would you rather feel rich or be rich? Would you rather feel like would you rather feel the pleasure of a woman, or would you rather experience the pleasure? And this is the problem. Everyone's losing their desire because they're feeling like they are, rather than actually being something. Or, you know, do you know what I mean? Like,
well, money in GTA is not the same as real life.
Exactly.
You could be a millionaire on GTA, but that doesn't translate to real life. You're still broke, living in your mum's basement. So that's the thing with pornography. It rewards you for having accomplished nothing.
Rewarding anyone for accomplishing nothing is bad. So bad.
Do you know what it is? We suffer as a society, and I'm addressing the men here, from entitlement. We want the rewards without having to do the work. The work is too difficult. We want something right now, immediate. And I always criticize this whole
spoiled by technology.
Income. Yeah, I always search this.
Passive income is not passive.
The only true passive income is real estate or stocks,
and
that's it.
Only in certain stocks, because even stocks aren't passive income. There's still a loss. You could still lose. There's stocks you can get
dividends from.
Dividends, exactly. That would work, obviously, if the stock is up.
Yeah.
Or not up. You have enough money in it. You're not like out of pocket. But yeah, there's no such thing as passive income. There's easier income.
Yeah.
But not passive.
What is the thing? It's a lazy approach. You have to try a lot of things out. And you know what? If it's hard work, it will at least teach you something. Even if you don't get the result that you're after, you learn. You grow through what you go through. If you're just sat on your ass, Jim Rohn used to say, if somebody handed you over $1 million, best you become millionaire quickly so you get to keep the money. Otherwise, it will sure enough disappear. If you give somebody money who's not qualified or doesn't have the experience to handle that sort of money, they will blow through it. How many times have lottery winners done
exactly
that?
I was about to say,
It's very rare that they magnify their wealth. There are some that have hired teams and stuff.
I don't think wealth should be the goal. I think the person you become getting the wealth is the goal.
It. Yeah, it's the person you become in the process.
I like money. Don't get me wrong. Money helps you get by and helps life get easier. But I just want to become better at everything I can. I want to be a better partner. I want to be a better husband. I want to be more attractive to people. I want to be able to handle difficult situations. Those skills will help me get money. Do you know what I mean? But it's not, the money's not the goal. Money's just it's the trophy of.
It's a byproduct of becoming more valuable.
Exactly.
People chase money, not realizing that money isn't something you chase, it's something you attract.
Exactly.
And a person that you become. Yep. The better you are at communicating, negotiating, the more money you'll make. And, I want to give Samie some credit here for getting me the book, Never Split the Difference.
Never Split the Difference. Great book.
Fantastic book on negotiation.
It is
teaches
so
you
good.
so many things that you're completely oblivious of, and that's why awareness is key. You need to be aware of this information.
Awareness is everything. As soon as it's what's that quote from the Matrix? No, it's not the Matrix. I think Friedrich Nietzsche said this. Like once your eyes are open, you shall remain awake for eternity or something like that.
There's a saying as well. A mind that's stretched into different realms can never go back to how it was before. Something along those lines.
Yeah, it's the same premise, but it's true. Like once you can't unlearn something. My granddad's always said to me that you can't uninvent something. You can't unlearn something. Once you've learned. You can forget how something's done, but you still remember that it is done.
Yeah. You could change the way you look at it for sure, but if something's been programmed a certain way, that is one way, but you have to learn a different way that's more effective. And I think we need to instill this culture of hard-working young men. Man, I had every job in the book. I didn't go to university. I went straight into employment after A-levels. I got a C and 2 Ds in A-level, which was, at the time, catastrophic to me. And I remember just feeling sheer panic because my brother went to uni, my twin brother, and my dad, he went to university, did a master's, PhD, and there I was. I felt like I was out of place. I felt like I was going to fail because that was the blueprint that worked for so many people, especially my dad. And so I thought, okay, now that it hasn't worked for me, what the hell am I going to do? And obviously my dad came to this country, and one of his dreams was for us to be educated here and go to university here. And because I didn't, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? But then a part of me, I don't know where I got this from, but a part of me felt like, you know what, Ali, you'll figure it out. Even though you're scared as fuck, you're anxious, I'm sure you'll figure it out. Because I wanted to win. I had that desire.
Yeah. I mean, I think people think that uni solves all your problems. It doesn't. It's not the same as it used to be. People will prefer, experience rather than education now, because you can get education easy. Like most of the time, like my degree, which was in music and technology, I could have learned that all online. All of it. Most degrees you could learn it all online. You don't need to go to uni. I think it's got to a point where it's a scam. Like if you want to be a doctor, of course,
doctor, lawyer, maybe civil engineering. But I think it's good as a young man to entertain different possibilities now, because there are more options available now than there ever were before. Apprenticeships can pay you as you're learning. I know friends that did apprenticeships that are now making way more than some of my other friends that went to uni. And so you've got to be open-minded, because I get this question. That's probably one of the most common questions I get. Ali, should I go to uni? And I don't like that question because everybody's different. I don't know your strengths.
Yeah.
You might be an academic. You might be someone that if you knuckle down and you revise and you can smash it, maybe you have an interest in medicine.
I think if you're 100% in, this is what one of my teachers told me, if you're 100% in, go to uni. Like, because you're in. Right, if you don't know what you want to do,
Don't go.
don't go, because
You're going to settle for something you don't want to do.
you're going to go to uni and you're not going to like it, and you're just going to, like, my problem is that once I start something, once I've started, I have to finish. I don't care if I don't like it. And I hated uni. I really hated uni. My uni experience was not good. I had fun, don't get me wrong, like, it was great fun. Lived in Brighton. I should say it alone if you're from the UK. But I did not enjoy uni at all. I enjoyed the friends I made and the experiences I gained. But yeah, uni just didn't help me. I have not used my degree at all. At all. It hasn't helped me with any job. The only thing it's done is change my work ethic a bit and my understanding of certain online realms, you know, just being able to deal with certain things.
This is why I like to analyze everything in a individual basis, person to person. I can't paint everything with the same brush, because somebody might tell me, Ali, I'm interested in business. I don't know if I should go to uni. I would say to that person, okay, maybe you staying in your hometown, living with your mum and dad, won't really allow you to grow. So maybe going to university, even though you're not 100% certain,
will stimulate your mind a little bit.
We'll get you in motion. We'll get you out of your comfort zone, because it is out of your comfort zone.
I just think it's mad that you make such a big financial decision when you barely know how the world works. That's what I don't like. Like, you really are being, like, you're almost pressured in to, like, make a decision on like 60, 70 grand worth of debt.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. And I just want to make this very clear to the guys that haven't gone to uni or are thinking of not going. You'll be all right. You know, the real world will teach you so much. I give so much credit to that job that I had when I was 18, when I was in a telesales environment, making 300 calls a day. That changed me completely.
Yeah, I bet.
I always talk highly of that environment because it threw me out of my comfort zone. I was sworn out over the phone. I was hung up on.
I hated working call center, like out calls, like telesales.
Yeah,
I hated that. I absolutely hated that. I don't know how you managed to survive. That is crazy.
Honestly, being able to learn about people, how to combat objections, is such a useful skill, and it will help you even in entrepreneurship if you want to start your own business one day. It's a transferable skill.
Yep.
And I give it so much credit, you know, and that led on to something else, which led on to something else. And if you would have asked me at 18, Ali, will you have a channel one day teaching men how to become more confident, better communicators? I would have told you, hell no.
Yeah.
I didn't know I would get to this position, but I trusted that the dots will connect. And what you need is time to go by for you to be able to look back and connect the dots.
How did you actually start public speaking? Like, how did you actually, what was your journey to become better at public speaking? Because you, like, from my experience of you, you've just been naturally good at from the get-go. Yeah, like, so, like, because I know every skill is learned, so tell me how, like, because I actually don't know.
Yeah, well, when I was 18, 19, I was open-minded to different ways of making money, and I remember a friend of mine introducing me to multi-level marketing, you know, which I'm not fond of as an industry to get into in terms of making money in the long run. But it's an experience, and as I've said, every experience will teach you something. What I give multi-level marketing credit for is teaching me about people, about sales. Obviously, you have to present your service to other people, you know, to sell your service, and that can be done either face-to-face with one person or in front of 10, 15, 20, 30 people. And that's how it started off for me. I was in a multi-level marketing company that sold telecoms, internet services, and I had to build a team, you know, and obviously I earn off the team, etc. And I remember just the first time I spoke in front of a group of 6 or 7 people, it was at a university, actually, Northampton Uni, I think. Yeah, Northampton University. I went over there to present the business, and there was seven people there sat down looking at me, and I was nervous, man, and I wasn't a good communicator back then. I was stuttering left, right, and center. I wasn't looking at people in the eyes. It felt like they were right in front of me, judging me, and that was something I was worried about as well. What are they thinking of me as I'm speaking? Are they saying, "Oh, what a dickhead"? You know what? And over time, I did more and more presentations. 7 became 15, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, and the biggest crowd I ever spoke in front of was 2,000 people in London.
Yeah,
the Troxy Centre is what it's called, and it is several floors. It's like a theatre, big theatre. And I just remember walking to the stage.
There's videos of it, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a video of it on my Instagram. Yeah, it was just a euphoric feeling, man. It was incredible. And I was so proud of myself because I remember the first meeting. I remembered it when I was on that stage. I could just see the first meeting when I had 7 people, and then now, instead of me seeing 5 or 6 people, there were flashes, the camera flashes everywhere, and it was a great feeling. And it was way out of my comfort zone for sure. And did I have anxiety? Of course I did. But I did it anyways, and I think that's something that people need to do. You're nervous about public speaking, do it anyways.
Do it scared.
Yeah, do it scared, exactly. You know,
I hate going on stage. I tremble. Even boxing, when I got in the ring, like all before. Do you remember? I was like, oh, I might lose this fight, man. I don't want to lose this fight. I don't want to get knocked out in front of my girlfriend, my mum, you, my dad. Who, like, obviously most guys are like, they really want to impress their dad.
Everybody,
yeah. Like, and I remember that, like, walking up to the ring was the scariest thing, but when you're there, you just
forget
in the moment.
That's it, you're in the zone.
You're in the moment. Same with like music, man. I remember getting on stage in front of a couple of thousand people, and then just being like, "Holy crap, I'm scared." And after the first song, you're a bit jittery, but then after you're like once you're into it, once you're in your zone, that's it. It all works itself out.
Exactly. And you get out of your comfort zone, you get a incredible shot of self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a nice boost.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in video games, sometimes when you beat someone up, you collect some of their money, or it's like you're getting a boost.
You get the XP.
Yeah, you get the XP. Yeah, every time you do something out of your comfort zone, you get that XP. You feel good about yourself, and it makes you think, okay, that's done. What else can I do?
Yeah.
You want to keep pushing the boundaries.
Once you just get to a point where you're like, I'm capable of like so much. Like, when you actually think, like, actually, with all of you watching or listening, like, sit down and give yourself credit for what you've done, right? Because I always forget, like, I'm always like, oh, man, I'm not good enough. Like, why am I not good enough? And then like, I'd speak to you about it, and you're like, Samie, you've done this, you've done this, you've done this, you've, like, what you say, like, yeah, you might have hated you, but you completed it. As much as you think that's nothing, you've done it. You've gone on stage, you've sang, you've been in the ring, you've dated successfully, you've like as little as you've passed your driving test, you can drive. Like, you look at your achievement, like, really sit down and self-audit and look at what you have done, and you'll be like, do you know what, I've done loads. Like, you should be proud of yourself. Even waking up this morning, man, because I know what it's like being depressed. As much as I'm like if you there's loads of reasons for being depressed, but like, even waking up, man, like, you should be proud of that.
Even going through a day where you don't quite feel like yourself. I've said this before in videos. You have survived 100% of your bad days.
Exactly.
Your track record of going through bad days is flawless because you're still here.
The fact that you know what could possibly go wrong means you've experienced something going wrong and you survived it. So, you know, like, you're just trying to save your ego, and your ego is just, it's nothing. It's just
100%. I really do believe in giving yourself credit where credit is due. You know, it's hard sometimes because especially if you're somebody who's really ambitious and you have really high standards for yourself, sometimes you think that's not enough. It's not enough. But you must give yourself credit, otherwise you'll be miserable during the process, and you'll probably burn out and start resenting your work. Oh, why am I doing this anyways? I'm not this. It's because you're not giving yourself credit. You're not celebrating.
You end up hating yourself. You end up finding reasons. So there's this thing called reticular activation system, RAS. Yeah. If you focus on reasons why you're not good enough, you're going to find reasons why you're not good enough. Same with yellow cars. If you ever played the yellow car game, you look for yellow cars, guess what you see? When you start looking for a certain car that you want to buy, guess what you start seeing? You start seeing that car everywhere. And now we always see Jags everywhere now because of your car. Or we always end up finding my car everywhere. It's like the little crappy Toyota. But like, it is a powerful thing. Like, you always need to check your brain and look at what you can do and what you are capable of, and then like translate that to what you could be capable of.
Yeah, and this is why it's key to drown out the noise. Stop looking at what somebody else is doing. Your only competition is yourself. You can take inspiration from other people, but if you're constantly looking over the fence, you're going to mess up what's in front of you.
Yeah.
So
stop competing with other people. You don't need to compete. Obviously, I understand the basis of human nature is we have to compete, but you should be in competition with yourself. When there's a competition on, obviously be in competition with other people, but everyday life, as long as you're better than what you were, then that's it, man. That's all you
That's
need.
the key. If you're 1% better every single day, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Small progress is still
Even
progress.
0.1. Like, progress is progress. Profit is profit. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is, people don't want to be seen starting at the bottom.
Yeah. I hate it.
Your first video will be shit. Your first podcast will be shit. Not that mine was shit. Mine was pretty good, actually, because I've been making videos for a while now. But your first anything will suck. And over time, as you engage in the process, and this is why I always tell people, the only way for you to get better is to do the process, to be part of the process again and again and again. Repetition is key. The more you do something, the better you'll be. And if you want to get really great, but you don't want to do the work, that's naive.
It's unrealistic. It's stupid. Like, you have to do to be.
Yeah.
You have to be to do. But yeah, you have to, you can't just, no one, as much as there's no such thing as talent, right? There's people that have worked really hard for a long time on something and have become that thing. You might be more inclined to do something. Like,
still gotta practice.
I'm really good at trampolining, but I didn't just like go onto trampoline and be that good. Singing, I didn't just open my mouth and I was good.
Well, I heard Ed Sheeran was once really bad.
Yeah. You can watch that video online. Like, he has a video of what he used to sound like. He was terrible. Like, you have to become, like, before you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just be.
Yeah, exactly. It's very naive to expect that you'll become great without having to do anything. And this is why you got to embrace the hard work. Go out there, show up every single day. Definitely audit what you're doing. Trial and error. Review what you do, make certain adjustments.
We all make mistakes. It's just stupid if you make the same mistake twice.
Yeah,
that's where the issue is. Yeah, that's where the issue is. We all make mistakes. No one likes making mistakes. And if you have good friends around you that can help you up when you make mistakes, I think. So one of the things that I used to find when we were younger, if we ever found like a girl attractive, like, you're always scared to walk up to her because you've always seen that one guy that's walked up to a girl, got turned down, everyone points and laughs. Like, you want to stay away from friends like that point and laugh when you fail your business or when something messes up for you. You want people that are like, oh, don't worry, man, next time.
Yeah.
Next time, man.
Exactly.
You got this. Next time you're going to get that backflip. Next time you're going to be able to pass your driving test, right? Yeah. Next time you're going to win that fight. I remember my first fight, some of my friends were like, oh, Sam, I really want you to get beat up, man. I really want you to get hurt.
That's a fake.
And I remember telling like my close friends, Alex and Boris, about it, and they're like, dude, like, why are you friends with them? I was like, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Like, all your friends should want the best for you. I want you to win. Don't get me wrong, I want to hit you sometimes, and I can guarantee you want to hit me. But like, I don't want other people to hit you. Like, I don't want you to lose. I don't want you to. I don't like. That healthy competition is good, but like, you should wish well for your brothers. You want everyone to win. And
sometimes you can't. This is the thing. You can't make somebody. You can't want it for them more than they want it for themselves.
Yeah.
You can encourage somebody. You can support them. You can say good things to them. But some people just won't change. And I think you have to accept the fact that not all of your friends will be the same as you.
Yeah.
Not all of them will be as intense, as ferocious in their pursuit of success as you are. And that's okay. Some friends are just meant to be friends to hang around with, chill with, kick back with, laugh with. Not everybody. And I made that mistake early in my 20s. I expected everyone around me to be exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
I'm unique. I'm different.
Yeah. What's that saying? You should be understanding with others and disciplined with yourself. Do you know what I mean? I really believe that. Like, you should have high expectations for yourself, but you should just be understanding with others. Or you should like give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Exactly. And just like in your own time. This is what I'm going to do, and I hope you do it too. But
yeah, I wish you the best in your journey, and I hope that.
And don't get me wrong, these people
work out.
The people that said that stuff, I don't hate them. I'm still friendly with them. They're still friends, but they're not people are in my immediate circle anymore.
Yeah, I do believe you've got to be careful, because there are some people that will disguise themselves as friends when in fact they are enemies. They are preying on your downfall.
Yeah, well, people just don't want to be alone. Like, that's just it. People would rather be with someone. There's a reason why most people are in toxic relationships and they can't leave, because they'd rather be with someone than be alone. Because being alone is, for some people, is scary.
Well, it makes them look at who they actually are.
Exactly.
And they don't like what they see.
No one likes what they see.
So when they see one of their friends going out there achieving milestone after milestone, it makes them think, wow. And here I am. It makes them aware of where they are.
Yeah.
And it should never get to the point where it becomes envy and jealousy. And if you notice that you're around people that feel uncomfortable when you share your success, just know that this person might be preying upon your downfall. They might be thinking, who does he think he is? He's changed. He's this. He's that.
I think it was Jordan Peterson that said, like, how you know who your good friends are the ones that kind of know how to celebrate with you and know how to mourn with you. I think it was something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing, but it was a good little gem of wisdom where he, like, whenever you're like, oh, Sam, I just hit 19,000 views. Like, all right, let's go for dinner. When you got, I think when you got to 10,000, when you got 100,000 on
100,000 on TikTok, I think.
It was like, let's go for dinner. Like, we're celebrating. This is great. And we'd celebrate. And we'd always try to celebrate the wins. And even like, you don't drink, do you? But after I won my fight, you still come to the bar with us, smoked a victory cigar, and like chilled with everyone, despite everyone drinking. You were just like, no, I'm going to, because like,
I wanted to be there for
you want to celebrate the win.
Moment.
But it's that, like, that's how you know who your real friends are.
Oh, 100%.
It's like, oh man, you struggled today. That's all right, man. Like, I got you.
Keep your head up, man. You've been through this before. You've survived 100% of your bad days. You'll get through this. You need people like that, man, to navigate your way through life. But I mean, what would you say to anybody who maybe hasn't really had a good year and they're a bit disappointed with themselves? How can they finish 2023 strong?
There are better days. There's always better days.
If they tell you, Sammy, what do I do though? How do I finish this year strong? What would you tell them?
Go to the gym. Work out. The easy wins. Find easy wins. Okay. Easy wins, because it builds the momentum.
Write that down, guys. That's a gem right there.
Like, easy. Just find easy. Clean your room. It's simple. Make your bed. Like, it's like cliche, but it really is an easy win. Like, sweep the floor. Do the dishes, easy wins, and then you build this momentum. And people get burnout. I get it. Take the breaks when necessary. Don't overdo it. But the easy wins are everything. When you go to the gym and then you wake up and you have DOMs, your muscles are aching, you're like, I worked out, man. I'm aching. This is the pain of growth. Yes, it is the pain. Go for a walk. You did something today. Exactly. That's it. Easy wins, and then those easy wins turn into bigger wins, and then you have more confidence in yourself because you're doing stuff, and then you're able to have, like, to go on to the bigger wins. Yeah,
exactly. And the person that you become changes over time. So what you're capable of now is probably a lot more than what you were once capable of 6 months ago.
I was shy when I was like 15. And then I think out of nowhere I started getting attention from women, and that kind of pushed me into like fake confidence, and it's only built from there. People get so confused when I tell them I used to be shy. Like, no, you weren't. I was like, yeah, I did. Exactly. Like, it grows. Better. You have, like, there's as long as you're aiming up, you're fine. As long as you look at every situation like, what can I learn from this? How can I get better from this? I lost today. What have I learned? How do I make sure that doesn't happen again?
I think being able to pick up yourself after a loss and go again as quickly as possible is a key skill.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will try something, fail, and then they'll mourn that failure for so long.
Yeah. And then they won't try again because they don't want to fail like that again. Yeah. And their ego's struck.
And they need to change their relationship with failure, because failure is quitting. Losing at something doesn't mean you failed. It just means that maybe this wasn't for you, or your skills are better used elsewhere. So you just got to take that feedback. That's what failure is. It's feedback.
I hate that failure is frowned upon in this society, because failure is like the biggest learn. You don't learn from winning. You actually don't learn from winning. You just won. I won. Great. Your preparation got you the win. Right? Losing is where you learn, and learning is the most valuable. Yeah. You sit down and you are like, why did I lose? How do I stop this again? And that's where the growth is. The growth isn't from winning. Anyone who's winning all the time isn't growing. Look at the rich kids that had everything, right? Yeah, like if they had a good parenting where they pushed them to learn new skills, they're doing well. But a lot of these rich people that were brought up rich can't do the most basic stuff because they've had everything done for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the victory tastes so much sweeter once you've failed repeatedly, because then you value your journey a lot more.
And then you start valuing your time, and you start having self-respect because you know that you can overcome.
You've been there before.
Yeah.
You've been through it. You've successfully moved on.
Being okay with failure is definitely a skill I'm trying to deal with.
And it also makes you more interesting.
Yeah.
You've got stories to tell.
Yeah.
You're not somebody who has never achieved
One
anything.
thing I used to say to clients that I used to teach how to date, is because it's always, I'm scared of being turned down. Like, if you're going to fail spectacularly. Make it such a bad failure that it's a story to tell.
So strongly.
Yeah. make it such a, fail so bad that you can laugh about it later. And it's like, I struck out. I messed up. Don't put yourself at a detriment when you're in, going to jail or a big financial loss where you can't recover. But learn that, understand that failing spectacularly is a funny story. Builds charisma, builds your riz, and ultimately is where you learn.
Yeah. And you fail forward. Ultimately, you move from one experience to the next, and every experience that you get to, you're a bit more prepared now. You have more information now, and you're better the next time you do it. So that's the thing. That's what people forget. You're afraid of failing again and again and again, but the failure will teach you, and you'll become better and better. So keep failing, guys. Finish this year strong. Be empathetic with yourself. You will get better. Things will get better. There are brighter days ahead, and hopefully this podcast has provided you with some value that you can implement into your lives. Make sure that you leave a comment. Let us know what you enjoyed the most about this podcast. Make sure you give this video a like, and follow Samie on his socials. Samie Benchoula on TikTok, and also Instagram, Samie098, right? I'll attach the socials down below. Thanks very much for watching this podcast, Samie. Thank you very much, brother. Appreciate you for coming.
See you tomorrow, my friend.
See you tomorrow.